so hot.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes.
Me?
All right.
Hey, perfect.
I'm going to minimize this and I'm going to open other browsers.
And where are you? Michaela. Okay, there you are. So I'm going to make you a co-host so you can share. There you go. Now you should be able to share.
You.
Well, welcome, Mike Markosky. Am I saying that right?
It's Markosky, that's fine.
Markosky. Is that right?
All right, can everybody see my screen?
No.
Okay.
So you want to press the green button, share screen or share content, whatever it says for you.
There we go. All right. All right.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, we can see everything?
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hi, Mike. Thank you for doing this.
All right.
Wow,
Right.
you've written it, eh?
Well, a lot of it's going to be photos, some artistic rendering.
Okay.
It's about an hour-long presentation, but I guarantee if you stay till the end, you're going to be quite surprised at what you find.
I'm really excited. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
It's my first time, so just bear with me. I don't have everything memorized yet, but
I will. I'm recording and then I'll send it to you.
all right. What we're going to be talking about right now is how to form an actual cosmic and Tulare union.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Just 1 sec and then start again. Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, well, basically, this project I've been working on for the last 10 years, it has to do with cosmic and Telluric energy, how we can form an actual cosmic and Telluric union. A lot about ancient mythology, symbolism, things like that we find all over the planet. This presentation is titled Divine Magnetism, the Language of the Gods. And I think we can all agree that we are missing a very important part of our history. The Vedas speak of a time of real magic and godlike powers. You know, we hear stories of figures like Moses and Jesus and these incredible things that they could do. So what if these stories were true?
They are.
What if all these clues we see in the form of symbols, carvings, and drawings are meant to teach us how to become gods?
Right.
All right. So let me ask you, how do you pronounce your name? Shiro?
Shiros. That's pretty good. Shiros.
Shiros?
You got it.
So Shiros, if I asked you, you see this picture on the screen, if I asked you to translate that to English, would you be able to do that for me?
No. Well, maybe.
Okay.
Magnum, maybe not.
All right. Well, most people can't because it's in a different language, obviously.
Right.
So,
right.
But when I told you that this is actually Latin for with great power comes great responsibility.
Responsibility, yeah.
Right. So now you understand the language and now you can look at it again and understand what it's trying to say.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. So Magna is power and Magnus is responsibility.
Right.
Right.
So we've all seen pictures like this, I'm sure. This is a Hermetic drawing.
Yeah.
But how often do we actually take the time to look at these pictures? You know, we look at them and say, well, that's very interesting, but I don't understand it. And then we keep going.
Right.
You know, so we come across these pictures and they're telling a story. And what we have to do is really look at these pictures and look at the details. And you'll see a lot of similarities. In this picture, we see two hearts, one regular heart and one upside down heart. And in the background, the bottom heart is surrounded by fire, representing cosmic energy or sunlight. The top heart, you can see, has grapes or vines coming out of the top, which we could say represents telluric energy.
Okay.
And in the background, you have around the hearts, you see these two large triangles, one on each side. And what this picture is trying to tell us is this is actually how to form a cosmic and telluric union and what we can do with this. So you'll see over here in the bottom, there's a flaming bird in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, and it's on a cross.
It's a
which we,
phoenix and a cross and a
right,
heart.
right, or it could be the firebird, and it's on a cross, which we contribute to religion.
Right.
So this presentation is going to teach you the language of these ancient symbols. And by the time this presentation is done, you'll be able to come back and look at these pictures and know exactly what they mean.
Wow.
All right, so when you have a great secret to keep, you write it in stone. And
Okay.
if it's a dangerous secret, you write it in code. You don't want everyone to know the secret, so you only write it to certain people who understand the code. And if it is a secret to never be forgotten, you write it in myth. Because the myth, passes down through generation after generation, and the people keep passing down the knowledge. So it's something you don't ever want to forget. Our ancient ancestors once shared a very powerful common knowledge, and although many cultures described it in different ways, the very core of the knowledge remains the same. This is why so many cultures share similar gods, similar stories, and many similar symbols. The keepers of this great secret were seen as very powerful beings, and through time were given many names: gods, demigods, prophets, wizards, alchemists, magicians. Picture. One second.
Okay.
Oh, fast forwarding, so move it. So in this picture, we see some kind of figure. We could consider it a sage or a mage or a wizard or an alchemist or whatever. But over to the right, you see two little pots, one pot at the bottom, one pot at the top. And you see this cloud of smoke coming out, a cloud of energy, and you see a flower in the center of it. And what this is telling us, that cosmic and telluric energy is what governs nature.
Oh, well.
Here's some terms I don't know if everybody's familiar with, but we just want to go over them. Does
Yeah.
anybody know what
Holy
Amrit?
water.
Yeah, Amrit means.
Holy
It's an
water.
ancient, yeah, it's an ancient Hindu potion said to be sweet and a milky substance, believed to grant everlasting life, and said to have cured nearly all disease and illness. You see also holy water, nectar of the gods for the Greeks, associated with myrrh, frankincense, and myrrh, which is what we all know that was brought to Jesus when he was born by the three wise men. Adi Shakti is an ancient Hindu term for the primordial forces of creation.
Yeah.
Hindu texts describe how three major gods, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, were able to separate and manipulate these forces to produce magical effects.
By the way, the Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma are one of these sets of threes that we spoke about earlier too. The God,
Right.
the Father, the Holy Spirit.
Right. And they're also associated with Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, which are
Right.
pretty much the same gods. Now, does anyone know what the term Gorgon? You ever heard that term?
I haven't. What is it? It's Greek though, right? Yeah.
Right. It's a Greek term. It's a Greek mythology term describing three winged deities said to have hair made of serpents and possess magical powers: Sethano, Uriel, and Medusa. Originally recognized as two sisters until a third was later added. And you can see also Athena's Aegis or the Kraken.
So Uriel as in the angel Uriel?
I believe so.
Wow, okay.
Fleur De Lis is French for the lily flower.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that right? I usually say Fleur De Lis. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's right.
And often associated with Catholicism, Hinduism, represents purity. See also the Pope, Saint Joseph, the father of Jesus, Hera, Juno, Venus, and Ishtar. Those are all people associated with the lily flower.
Right.
And then we have the lotus, usually open or closed, shares similar association with the lily, represents purity, creation, rebirth, in Hinduism. See also Isis and Brahma. The carnation shares similar association with the lily, represents divination, rebirth. In Mexico, they offer flowers, for the dead to reincarnate.
Okay.
Now, this is what I call global repetitive rock art. All over the planet, we see these symbols, and we don't know the meanings of them yet, But if you look at them closely, you'll start to see some similarities. Like in this picture, we have a serpent or a snake.
Yeah.
We have a triangle, like a staff on
Yeah.
top of a staff. We
Yeah.
have three little spirals over here. Down at the bottom, you'll see a figure. It looks like a human being or a person or an alien or some kind of
Yeah.
creature. And out
Yeah.
to the bottom right, you'll see a heart-shaped creature with two round eyes, some sharp teeth. And it's have something coming out of his mouth, or like he's eating something or taking something in. So these symbols are all over the planet, and they tell a story.
And spirals.
Right, you have a lot of spirals.
I don't hear him anymore.
Yeah, Michael, we lost you.
Oh, you there?
Yeah, we just couldn't hear you after you said, yeah, lots of spirals. We
Okay.
lost.
Yeah, so these ancient mysterious symbols can be found all over the planet, carved in stone or painted in caves. These symbols tell a story so important that it has transcended time and cultural discrimination. It has survived war, natural disaster, and has outlived many generations. Some of these symbols have been dated more than 10,000 years old. So let's take a look at some of them and take a close look and see if we can find some similarities. So in this picture, we have some kind of figure.
Yeah.
Looks like he has horns coming out of his head. He's holding the staff.
Yeah.
Looks like an upside down clothes hanger. Here you have a spiral to the right. And above his head, he looks like a handprint, could represent fire or flame. And on his back, he has the symbol of the sun,
Yeah.
right? Can you see this one?
It's hard to see.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a figure at the bottom. And this is associated with ancient aliens. This is the infamous ancient alien.
Right.
It's some kind of a man or a figure or whatever creature. It looks like he's wearing some kind of helmet. But in his left hand, he's holding a, looks like a staff or a wand or some type of metallic
We lost you again.
device or whatever. And his other hand looks like he might be holding a sword or a staff.
Right.
What's that?
Your voice,
And above him, he has this little sheet.
your sound cut out again.
Huh. Okay,
Yeah, you're back now.
good. All right, and so in this picture, we see the figure with the heart shaped. And now we start to look at the similarities that these things are showing. This one has round circular eyes, it looks like. Sharp teeth, something coming out of his mouth. And above him, there's another one with two round eyes, almost like a heart-shaped figure. And below that, you have another one, looks like a face, but two round eyes, heart-shaped almost, right? Over here to the left, this is called the squatting man. It's a round figure with a round belly, two legs coming down, two arms going up. And over to the top left, you have two figures that show, looks like their heads are radiating, possibly with some type of energy or something, right?
Like some of these are in the Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Right. So like I said, by the time this presentation is over, you'll be able to go back and look at these and you actually know what they mean. So this one is kind of weird. It's like a round circular shape. It has some lines coming off his head, which could represent energy.
An
Sitting
eye.
sitting on a pole, or it could be an eye, but it's also round.
Yeah.
And at the bottom here, he has a little round shape going around, and he has attached to a body with 2 feet.
Right.
So it looks very strange, right? We don't know what it means.
Right.
But you're starting to see the similarities here. We're talking about round circular things. In this picture, you have a staff over here, some kind of wave, or could be a river or something like that.
Right.
Over here, the same thing. Down here, you have that one figure I showed in that picture. It looks like an egg beater almost.
I don't know why. It kind of gives me that feel of the parting of the Red Sea kind of feeling.
Right. And over here to the right, you have a little, looks like a trident, which was associated with Shiva and then this Greek gods. So all these symbols here, I mean, people took the time to carve these in rock, you know, so they must be pretty important. They must have some sort of significance.
Right.
Here's another one. You have a round head, it looks like, 2 arms stretching out on top of a pyramid shape. Above him is the moon, shape of the moon. And in his
Yeah.
hand, he's holding this staff or wand.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a representation of the wand of Hermes.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't know what that is, it's called the caduceus or the
Yeah.
caduceus, however you want to pronounce it. But it is a wand. So this person or figure is holding something mysterious.
And then
Here's
one little-
another one.
Yeah.
Here's another at the bottom. But this one is a little more ring shaped for a head. Two arms coming out, standing on top of a triangle. And
And
here
reminds
he's
me
standing
of
in.
Reminds me of
standing-
the Ark of the Covenant.
Right, right. And he's standing in between two same kinds of wands or staffs.
Yeah.
Here's a figure that we've probably all seen on TV. It's a tall figure, looks like an alien. He has
Yeah.
two very round eyes and a
Yeah.
very odd shaped head. Okay, wide, broad shoulders, no arms, no legs that we can see. And he's surrounded by other figures. Now here's where it gets interesting. Here we have two figures that almost kind of look like aliens,
Yeah.
but they're not. Here you have four rings, one ring here, another ring, another one. And this figure has a spiral on its chest, a very odd shaped head, two antennas coming up, and he's holding a serpent, which is representing he's controlling something or holding on to something, he's using something, right?
Right.
And to the left, he has another figure with very two round eyes and an odd shaped head, and maybe some teeth here. And here's another serpent. Here's the same kind of figure, two very round eyes. Here's the serpent, but now the serpent is on top of his head, and it's almost flowing along with the shape of his head. And he's
Right.
standing also in between two large, long staffs or wands,
Yeah. I see.
right? Here's another one, same thing, two figures, two very round eyes. So what could these possibly be? Are they human beings? Are they aliens? Could this be ET? Here is it again with the two very round eyes, and here's the rings up here. Now, if you take a close look at these rings, you can see some kind of
Yeah.
flow coming off of them, right? You
String
don't know
theory.
right. And there's also a little shape of a turtle here. The turtle does have significance. I'm sorry. And here's the serpent. Now, in modern, here's the same picture. Now you can
Yeah.
see these a little bit better. Here's the rings. Now you have something coming off the rings. So are we looking at, are we showing motion here, or what are we showing? Are we showing some kind of flow, some kind of energy?
Right.
All right, now we get into the symbols of the gods. I'm sure we're all familiar with the Celtic Cross, the Catholic Cross, the Christian
Yeah.
Cross. I call this the Staff of Moses. It's also an Aboriginal art, like this
Right.
first picture we showed you. And then you have the trident, which is associated with Shiva, Poseidon, and Neptune, all these gods in ancient history.
Yeah.
Then you have the lyre or the lyre, which
Yeah.
is associated with Apollo. It's a
Yeah.
Hindu term. The upside down lyre is actually a Hindu symbol. It's also a symbol for Vikings. It's also found in Egypt
Yeah.
as the sign of Horus.
Yeah.
And then we have the Zeus lightning bolt, which is also the bolt of Jupiter. Jupiter and Zeus are, I believe, to be the same gods. And down here you have another symbol. It's associated with Egypt, and this was found in King Tut's tomb. It's found all over the world in Greek and Hindu culture.
Yeah.
And in the center we have, right, and in the center we have the swastika, which we all know was originated from China and Tibet, and it was later adopted by the Germans.
It's
And
Hindu
now,
too.
right, why do we ask ourselves why did the Germans adopt this symbol? Because it has some very important significance.
Right.
Maybe it was used in the wrong way, but it does have a very, some kind of importance. And
Right.
here you have the caduceus, the
They drew it. They drew it under us when we got married.
right, right. And here's the staff of Hermes. I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's kind of rough drawing, but this is also associated with the Mayan god Quetzalcoatl.
Right.
And now you guys see the bottom part here to the left. This is a Roman symbol. It's like the symbol they used to wear on the Roman helmets. And over here is a Viking symbol, which they used to put on the front of their helmets, the Viking helmets, which I'll
Yeah, I
show
know
you.
that. I know that dude. I used to draw him on all my greeting cards when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah,
Put mine in the
okay,
middle.
right. So here's some pictures of the gods. Now we notice that these gods, so-called gods, always have these staffs or these wands.
Absolutely.
So I ask, why would a god need a weapon or something,
Yeah.
if they have all these powers?
Yeah.
So here you have Mercury, also known as Hermes. Here's the
the Caduceus.
Caduceus. We all know that Hermes could fly. He was called the messenger, the winged messenger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of depictions of him flying using his wand. Here's a picture, another picture of Zeus. Now Zeus is holding a version of the lightning bolt, and if you see in his hand, he's holding up, he's clenching onto the cloud, showing that he controls storms or lightning.
Right.
Here's another picture of Hermes and the winged Caduceus. Now, there's going to be a difference that I'll show you later of why some of these wands have wings and some don't.
Okay.
Here's a picture of Poseidon with his trident. Poseidon, the lord of the sea, was the brother of Zeus. When he was in a good mood, he would create new islands. If he was in a bad mood, he would shake his trident, producing earthquakes, seismic waves, or causing volcanoes to erupt.
Right.
So imagine wielding that kind of power.
Right.
Here's a picture of Shiva, who also had a trident.
Okay.
Another picture of the three major gods, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. Now you
Right.
notice they're all holding some kind of utensil.
And they're all
Um,
female in this case.
Right. Here you have I think it's pronounced Sara chakra, something
Yeah.
like that, a spinning disc.
Yeah.
The trident, you have open lotus here, you have a vessel.
Yeah.
So my point is, these are basically
Like
tools.
when you do guided meditations, Buddhist guided meditations, you close your eyes and you imagine all these things in your hands too. So there has to be some other significance to these things.
Right. So I ask, why do gods need these weapons or staffs? I mean,
Right.
are they gods because they possess powers, or are these tools? Are they using these tools to actually grant them the powers?
Right.
Here you have in religion, we have the Pope, and you notice he's carrying a cross, the Catholic cross, usually made of gold.
Yeah.
And you notice he wears this big hat. Does anybody know why this hat represents?
I don't actually.
Okay, he wears a very thick robe too around his shoulders.
Yeah.
Here's a Nigerian symbol, I believe, cross here.
Right.
Two serpents, which also closely related to Hermes Caduceus. And
Right.
if you look at the snakes, they have a little tongue sticking out, and they're attached to the staff.
To the staff. So it's electrical.
Right. All these staffs were made of conductive material, as we know, gold, silver, or bronze. And we know bronze is basically just copper mixed in with some tin and some zinc and maybe a couple other minerals. Here's another one. Two serpents. Always two serpents.
Right.
So the staffs themselves are, like I said, are tools.
Right.
By themselves, they're just staffs. They're lacking something. They're like a
Oh.
car without an engine.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually made of conductive material. But to understand how this engine works, you need to understand a couple things about science. A
Right.
couple very simple things.
Right.
All right. So what do we know about light? We know that light can burn your skin if you stay out in the sun too long.
Right.
Light can be refracted by glass. Light can be reflected by mirrors. Light can be captured by solar panels. According to Einstein, light can even be bent by gravity.
Right.
So light is energy, and it can be manipulated.
Right.
We turn, sunlight into electricity. We pump the electricity into factories. The electricity runs the machines in the factories, and out comes a rocking chair. But we're already converting energy in different ways, not naturally. All right. So what is magnetism? Magnetic fields are basically electrons moving at the speed of light, which create these filaments of light that appear to be standing still. these filaments, specifically ring magnets, flow in either a clockwise or counterclockwise direction. So if you ever noticed, you ever played around with a homopolar motor, when you put a battery on top of a magnet and you put a little piece of copper on top of the battery and it spins in a certain direction, right? When you flip the magnet over, it spins in the opposite
Or
direction.
the other direction, yeah.
Right. So we know that magnetism has spin. And we know that light and magnetism govern nature. It's inside our atoms. It's inside the planet. Magnetism is out, in the solar system, and all these planets around us are affected by gravity and magnetism. They're all affecting each other.
Right.
What you see here, this is an actual picture of a magnetic field through a ferrocell. Do you know what a ferrocell is?
I do not.
Ferrocell is a recent discovery by one of the YouTubers. I think his name is Theoria Athopoulos.
Okay.
And what a ferrocell is basically two round pieces of glass, very thin pieces of glass. You squirt a little bit of ferro fluid in between the glass, press them together, and then you seal the edges. And then you take LED lights and you wrap them around the glass.
Oh,
And
I
you
think
place-
David was telling me about this at some point.
Right, and you place this over a magnet, and it actually allows you to see the magnetic field. So this one they used, you can see the different colors.
Yeah,
This one they used different, LED colored lights.
right,
So if you use white light, these filaments would light up as, white light.
right.
But we can see these little strings or filaments, and we can associate them. Ancient history, they associate them with the serpent or
Right.
or tentacles, or I think we have another picture here. Here's another picture,
Right.
magnetic field, and we still see these filaments of light.
Kind of looks like the eyes and the one of the alien heads that you had there.
Right, very good. Here's a better picture of one. You can see these two pieces of glass stuck together, and around the edge of the glass, we have, LED lights. And they use some Scotch tape here to hold them together.
Oh,
But-
gotcha.
Yeah, but you can see closely the magnetic field, these filaments here. Yeah,
Yeah.
these are electrons moving at the speed of light. They're moving so fast that they look like they're
Right.
standing still.
Right.
And one thing we know is we can manipulate magnetic fields. There's an
Right.
experiment that you can do, a quick experiment. Can you see this?
Yeah. Well, I can see the image that you have there. What are you trying to
Okay.
show me?
All right, well, I have here a 2-inch,
Oh, we can't see that. So what you got to do is stop the share so we can see you.
okay. Where's that at?
It's on the top. It depends on what device you have. It's a green button or a red button. And if it's red, then you stop it.
Okay,
Yeah. So now I just
you
gotta
see me
find-
now?
hang on. I still can't see you, so you gotta turn your video on.
Your screen chat. Where's that at?
It's a camera and has a line on it, or it doesn't have a line on it. There
There
you
we
are.
go.
There you are.
Okay,
Oh, Michael.
small screen. All right, what I
Yeah.
have here, this is a 2-inch neodymium magnet. It has a 1-inch center cut out at the center of it. And here I have a little plastic pole finder. See that?
Right.
It's made
Yeah.
of plastic, has a little rectangle, a magnet in the center, and it spins around. This allows you to figure out what kind of pole you're looking at. So if you
Okay.
take this ring magnet, I can hold it up here.
Yeah.
You hold the ring magnet in your left hand, and you take the pole finder and just stick it in the center of the magnet like that.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this out really quickly and then bring it slowly back down to the magnet. Now what's happening is the pole finder is vibrating, but
Right.
you can actually feel the vibration in the magnet.
Absolutely.
You're not touching it, and this shows resonance.
Yeah.
This shows that we can either pluck these filaments or we can vibrate them. So we can manipulate them.
Yeah.
Okay. This is something anybody can do.
Yeah.
Then go back to screen share.
Okay, Tony, are you listening to that one? He's gonna like that one.
Yeah, that's the one the ring I broke my finger on.
Yeah, but that little pole finder is what's cool.
Yeah, it's like cost less than $1. The magnet itself was about $20. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we know about a tree? What is a tree? A tree
trunk and branches.
Right. A tree is a
And,
natural receiver of cosmic and telluric energy. The
Wow.
sunlight is absorbed through the leaves and converted to usable energy as the roots siphon water nutrients from the soil. But we can
Right.
say this is a cosmic and telluric union of the Adi Shakti, the primordial forces of creation. This is the
Right.
this is the forces that govern all life. He turns into trees, plants, animals, grass, even people.
Fruits.
Here's an ancient depiction, another Hermetic drawing of the same principle. Here you have the sun and the moon representing cosmic and telluric energy moving around in a circle. This is what gives rise to life.
Right.
Now, in the center of this tree, you'll see something very specific. Here you have the Celtic Cross. It
Yeah, I
looks
see
like
it.
it's strapped to the tree.
Right.
Right. So why would we put something in the center of a tree?
Right.
Because these staffs are not limited to, copper and
Great.
copper and gold and silver.
Right. What's the arrow
Well,
represent? There's an arrow there and maybe a
Right.
ruler.
Right. Well, this is a ladder. So if
Right.
you follow
Oh,
the
yeah.
start of the sun and you follow around, it's actually a circle. Comes
Right.
down, goes back up. Well,
Right.
ladder represents the growth of life. You have cosmic energy coming down as sunlight. Telluric energy always grows upward and outward. The
Right.
cosmic and the telluric energy are always reaching out for each other.
Okay. So when you say cosmic and telluric, we're talking about earth energy versus sky energy as well, right?
Correct. You have cosmic energy in the form of sunlight. You have telluric energy in the form of magnetism. It's in the water. It's in the ground. It's everywhere. It's where life comes out.
Right. Got you.
So here we have a picture. This is a piece of Greek pottery, and anyone can find these pictures online. All you have to do is look them up. So here we have a very, extravagant design here. It looks like a flower pattern, some type of pattern.
Yeah.
Over to the left, you have somebody holding some kind of round, oval, reflective disc or reflective mirror. And
Yeah.
the thing about this pattern, and he's interacting with it. If
Right.
this were just a pattern, it would just be by itself and there'd be no interaction.
Yeah.
But
Why
if you
is
look at
that?
the pattern, right. So if you look at the pattern closely, we see these two little spirals, moving
Yeah.
down, moving around, which
Yeah.
is also the bottom one is also heart shaped.
Yeah.
Okay. The top one is the same thing, two spirals moving up. And we see these plumes coming out in between the spirals. What do these
Right.
plumes represent? It looks to be
Right.
some kind of flow, right?
Yeah.
So you have a flow going upward up here, and you have a flow going downward over here. But now if we look at the other pictures of these plumes, the bottom two on the left, the one on the right, they're both facing upward. The one in the middle is flowing downward. Now at the top, the two at the top, left and right, are flowing down, and the one in the middle is flowing up. Now, there's only one thing that I know of that could make this type of pattern. You're looking at some type of flow. So you have two spirals creating some flow, upward and downward.
Right.
Looks toroidal. How do you say that word?
Toroidal.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the law of energy. All motion is spiral, all direction is curved, nothing moves in a straight line. To every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. But when you look at magnetism, you have at the center of all magnets is where the pole flips, is where the polarity reverses. You have spiraling inward, on top of a magnet, reaches the center, changes direction, and spins outward at the bottom. And
Right.
the two compensate. They go back in and out, and that's what a magnetic field is. And there's an inertial plane, it's called, the center of everything, the center of two masses. You always have this inertial plane. And it's basically simply where the polarity flips. Now we look at magnetic spin. In ring magnets, we know that they have a spin, a certain direction of spin.
Right.
Okay. A south pole magnet, if you have two magnets, two ring magnets, you place them on the table in front of you, the north magnet would spin clockwise. South magnet would spin counterclockwise.
Right.
So if we put these two together, excuse me, in certain orders, south and north, the south pole, south facing magnet would spin counterclockwise. The North Pole magnet would spin clockwise. This would represent magnetic flow up. Magnetic flow down would be the north magnet spinning clockwise and the south magnet spinning clockwise, counterclockwise, right?
Yeah.
Now you have a magnetic flow up and you have a magnetic flow down. Now, if we attach these magnets and replace them with these spirals in that last figure we saw,
Yeah.
we get the upward and the downward flow. This is
Yeah.
called the inertial flow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we go back and look at this picture again. So if I were to put a north magnet here and a
Yeah.
south magnet here, now we go back and we follow the lines. If I move upward and around, this is spinning clockwise, which represents north.
Right.
This one would be spinning counterclockwise, which would be south.
Right.
That would tell us that this is a telluric direction, a telluric heart. The
Right.
top one would be the opposite. Follow the line, you'll see it spinning counterclockwise on the left, clockwise on the right, which tells us that's south and north. Okay, so we represent south and north as the upward facing cosmic flow or inertia. Okay,
So someone's trying to tell us something.
right. And here you have the magnetic filaments. Now, if you see the picture below the magnetic filaments, which are light, the bottom one is a picked rock carving. The picked people, or also known as the painted ones, have these carvings, these rock carvings all over Scotland and Ireland. And you can see that it's almost similar to the magnetic filaments drawing. You have two round circles and you have a plane of inertia in the center.
Right.
Well, now when we go to look at the next few pictures, I want you to remember south and north would be your cosmic upside down heart. North and south would be your telluric heart.
Right.
So these people, these ancient people, this is another piece of Greek, Chinese pottery, I'm sorry. But these people, I believe, understood the law of energy, the law of motion. Here you can see two spirals moving together, connected by one another, okay?
Right.
Here's another one, another Chinese vase. Spiral motion with these filaments wrapping around each other. So if you put two magnets together, you have this little connection. You know, the filaments would connect, the magnetic fields. Here's another one.
Right.
Same thing, spiral motion in and out. But here we have the swastika again.
Yeah.
Now here's what I believe to be an ancient ring magnet. And this little dial, my medallion here, you can see there's two dots, one at the top, one at the bottom, and you have the spiral formation, right?
Yeah.
Wraps around, and here at the center, you have the inertial plane.
Right.
So here's the thing. Here's the problem I have with this. If an archaeologist went and dug up a tomb somewhere and found a microwave, do you think he's going to tell anybody? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
So we really can't say. It's hard for anyone to say that these ancient people understood more about nature and energy than we do now. You know what I mean? So
I think because they were all eating the natural plants and getting high and were able to understand all this better than we are.
right. So here you have a
Well,
picture. This is it. I'll go ahead.
I was just going to say that, and not only that, but it's almost like they valued it so much so that they put it everywhere. Why is it echoing? That's really weird.
Right. All these symbols that we see.
Hold on. Somebody has a phone on. It's echoing.
Michael, are you on your computer and your phone at the same time?
I am not. No, my phone is off.
Okay, it's good now. I don't know what that was.
Okay.
But
It's me trying to get back on.
can you mute yourself, Tony? Thanks. Okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
now this is when it's going to get really weird. Okay, here's a picture of an old crop circle, and someone did a study on this crop circles and these infernal vortices they were finding. the picture over to the right, you see here, if you follow these arrows, we can get direction.
Right.
The arrows are pointing counterclockwise. Okay, that
Yeah.
tells us that's a south facing magnet. The one on the right is moving north, to
Right.
tell us that's a north facing magnet. And in between these magnets, you have one north here and one north here, which creates a repulsion at the center.
So do you guys remember when we did one of the webinars where it was a stone or a crystal with square face, and then David sliced it at one of the corners to show the rings inside? Do you guys remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So on the top, you have, a south facing magnet, another south facing down here, which would also create a repulsion. When you actually put 4 magnets together in opposite directions, north or south, south or north, you get this little central ball of repulsion. You can actually feel it with the pole finder.
Wow.
Here's a depiction of the same thing.
Wow.
Now you follow this line down, you find that it's south,
Yeah.
counterclockwise. We
Wow.
follow this one, it's north.
Right.
We follow this one, it's north. This one, it's south.
Right.
Here we have the central ball of repulsion.
Right.
This is Neolithic. This is prehistory in Malta.
Oh my God.
Here we have the shapes that we were looking at earlier.
Right.
So now if we follow this pattern, here's the plume that we are looking at, the inertial plane, the inertial flow, magnetic
Right.
flow. So 2 magnets together facing in opposite directions. This one would be counterclockwise, which would be south. This one would be north. So
Right.
south and north, as we know now, is the cosmic heart or the cosmic flow.
Right.
Right? Here's another picture, same thing. Follow the flow, south, north, central plumes or central magnetic flow. I believe that's what these are trying to tell us, is that this is about magnetism.
Yeah. And this is from the crown now, or the head.
And here we have another one. This would be, follow the line from the top.
There's Islamic calligraphy in this. Is this Islamic?
This is Greek,
Greek. Okay.
ancient Greek, orange vase.
Cool.
So follow the line, and now we have this one. The one on the left is rotating north. The one on the left is rotating south. This is our Tularic flow, our
And even
Tularic energy.
And even the spirals on the rim, on the top there in the row, they're spinning in different directions.
Right, the one at the top here, it's
Yeah.
spinning the opposite direction, it's facing upward. So we
But
know
even
our,
But even in the row, like up above, just below the ones you showed me, right below that.
these,
No, right in the
oh, these
The
Yeah.
square, yeah.
squares,
Yeah.
yeah, they're all,
Yeah.
yeah, showing rotation, they're showing movement.
we're showing movement. Yeah.
But these are found all over Greek pottery, and we don't know what they really are, but now we can understand that these are telling us that this is magnetic flow. We're having 2 spirals creating an inertial plane or inertial flow of magnetism.
Right.
Here's another one, same thing, south and north creates our upward flow, our cosmic heart. Now, if you took a pencil and drew around here and up and top, you would get a heart shaped on all of these. Here's another one. Here's that bird again, that fire bird or phoenix
Right.
in between the magnetic field.
Right.
This looks like it's showing us 4 different magnetic fields.
Yeah. I see that.
But you see that the bird is in between the magnetic fields.
Right.
Is anyone familiar with Ed Leedskalnin and his Coral Castle? He wrote a book, and he had a symbol that he used in his book, and he called it The Secret of Magnetism. And I'm pretty sure this was similar to this, but it was opposite,
Right.
opposite direction.
It was opposite direction.
Right. Here's another one. Now here we
This is
have
Greek.
2 actual rings, 2 actual ring magnets showing a flow upward.
Right.
Associated with the Pegasus, the winged horse.
So bottom line is nature is trying to show us that too, because when you're looking at flowers and leaves and petals and how they flow, they're trying to show us the same thing.
Right.
I was
Now
kind of
this-
thinking the same thing with that Fleur De Lis or whatever.
Right. We'll get into that too. That's coming up. So here we have this picture again. Now we can follow through. Now we can understand that this top part here is our cosmic heart. The bottom part would be our telluric heart. So
Right.
cosmic and telluric. Now we want to do is create a cosmic and telluric union. So how do we do that?
Right.
Here's that pic drawing. We have two large rings, two large ring magnets,
Yeah.
central plane of inertia, both sides. And up here it's represented with the serpent. Now the
Right.
serpent we know is the filaments, the magnetic filaments, or serpent or tentacles or strings.
Or the
And at the
coil.
bottom of this picture, you'll see, looks like to be a mirror,
Right.
handheld mirror.
Yeah.
That's very significant as well, and I'll in a few minutes. So now that we have our engine, we have our staffs, we have our car, now we need the engine. So let's figure out how the engine works.
Right.
Cosmic energy, we know, is sunlight, flows down.
Right.
Sunlight doesn't flow up, it always comes from the sky and it flows down.
Yeah.
Caloric energy flows up.
Up.
All plants, trees, flowers, we all grow upward and outward. These I call the Masonic hearts or the Hermetic hearts. And this is what we see all over these Hermetic drawings. This is
Right.
called catching some rays. This is
Right.
how you can use magnetism to capture or move or manipulate sunlight or magnetic energy.
Right.
Now we have a cosmic heart and we have a telluric heart. And in the
Beautiful.
center, you have this, you see the plume.
Yeah.
Energy wraps around the magnetic field and goes back upward into itself. And I don't know how much you know about, Tibetan or Hindu culture, but the ancient Hindus believe that you could either transcend or travel to the sun by using a ray of sunlight. How they
Right.
did that was they separated the rays.
Yeah.
And he created a filament. You would travel between the rays of light, which creates motion. Now we get into the evidence. So this is a piece of pottery, a Greek vase. Now here we have the cosmic shaped heart, right?
Yeah.
So if we follow the start at the top here, say this was a ray of sunlight, the light would come down and it can't go in between because our motion, our magnetic flow is pushing upward, right? So this
Right.
would be a counterclockwise or a south-facing magnet. This would be a north magnet, and it's pushing upward. So the
Right.
sunlight can't come straight down. It's being blocked. It has to go around. So it
Right.
goes around the magnet and becomes pushed up or inside itself. So this up here would represent cosmic energy or sunlight.
Right.
Down here would be the telluric energy. And this is showing us this is a cosmic heart.
Right.
And the flower here is actually depicted as a magnet or the flower of life. Now here we see the telluric heart. And over here we have two dolphins swimming upward, showing direction. Telluric energy flows upward.
Right.
Over here to the left, we have two telluric hearts. Looks like it's attached to some kind of tree, growing upward and outward. Now here we have two Greek figures with a cosmic heart on a stick. So it looks like they're using a staff or some type of conduit to
harness that, whatever
Right.
it is.
Right, to harness the cosmic energy. And over to the left here, we can actually see the cosmic flowing heart, flowing
Yeah.
shape
On both
on the left
sides.
and the right, on the left and the right, right.
And is that flowing because they're holding the staff?
I think it's just a depiction showing you that they're using a staff or some type of material or object to
Right.
harness the cosmic energy.
Got you.
Here's another one. So we translate this figure up top here, it's sunlight.
Yeah.
Sunlight ray comes down, wraps around the magnetic field, south and north. And up here in the middle, you have this little buildup of
Yeah.
the energy.
Right.
Because it actually, it's like threading a needle, it's threading itself. And this is
Right.
how you divide cosmic energy or cosmic rays.
Right.
At the bottom, now you notice this one,
Yeah.
at the bottom, it's stuck into the ground.
Yeah.
So now you have telluric energy coming up, you have cosmic energy coming down, and the
Right.
flowers represent the magnets.
Right.
But notice the bottom telluric part is being blocked, it's being stopped, it's building up higher than this one is, getting larger, right? Because the cosmic energy is filling this gap in here, this void. The telluric energy has nowhere to go, so it builds up.
Right.
Now here's another depiction of the telluric heart. And the flowers we know represents magnetic fields,
Right.
and it's associated, you see the word, I think that's, is that
Amon?
amor? Is it amor?
Amon. I think it's Amon as in Amon Ra. Oh no, that's an R, so it's Amor. Yeah.
Love,
Yeah. Love.
French word for love, right? And at the
Yeah.
bottom, we have 4 little circles down here, which is representing the Catholic Union.
Yeah. And again, the
Now
cross.
this one, right, now this one we see a telluric heart up to the left. Everybody see that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have inside the heart, we have 2 rings,
Yeah.
2 ring magnets.
Yeah.
You have these little feet coming down.
Yeah.
Over to the right, we have the same thing, 2 rings representing 2 magnetic fields or 2 magnets. And this is the Greek shape of the magnetic field, which is also on Greek pottery. Now at the bottom right, you see a magnetic field, you see the lines, which is representing a flower.
Right.
How magnetism creates or governs life. Now this is one of my favorites. This you see, obviously you see a heart-shaped face.
Yeah.
But why not a regular face? Why is this person or deity have a heart-shaped face? They're telling you that this is a telluric shape. And inside the face, you have the 2 rings, which represent your magnets. And at the bottom here, you have the fish, which is showing you direction of flow. Telluric energy comes up, and you see the little filaments on the sides.
Right.
Okay, they come up and wrap around the magnetic field. Now, if you notice, their arms are very long, very odd shaped, no hands. Okay, I'm going to explain what these are. These are associated with the broken magnetic filaments. So these filaments and these magnetic fields can be broken. If you ever seen a plasma globe, you know, the round glass globe with the energy, the little fingers coming inside of it, when you touch the glass, the fingers follow your finger, you know, you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Right, and here again, we have the swastika.
Yeah. And then you have all these evil things all around her.
Right. Well, these 2 at the top, these are actually, what do you call those birds? Peacocks.
Peacocks.
You
Okay.
can find peacocks all over Tibetan and Greek pottery.
So they represent like guardian angels or something.
Well, the peacock in these terms are represented as purity.
Yeah.
Now, the ones at the bottom, I don't know what these are, but you can see
Yeah.
their tails, they have the spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah, either it looks like a representation of either a boar or some kind of creature. And up here you have a bull. The bull and the
Yeah.
boar can be found in a lot of ancient rock carvings, and I haven't really figured out what that meant yet.
I think what, like, if you want my interpretation, is because, like, she's not smiling, so we know that the energy isn't flowing right. And if your energy doesn't flow right, then your experience won't be so positive, basically, is what this is saying to me.
Well, yeah, because the bottom left animal, whatever that is, has its paw in her energy field.
Yeah.
Right, but again, like, yeah, we look at the arms, they're not regular shaped arms. This is
Yeah.
a depiction of something, but it's made to look like something else.
Yeah.
So we have the Tulare card there. Is anybody familiar with Greek mythology?
Oh my God, a little bit, but you
Like
know,
Medusa, yeah, Medusa, the Gorgon.
yeah, the snakes, the Medusa has the snake hair.
Right, and Medusa supposedly had the power. Whoever gazed upon her, they would turn to stone.
Right.
So Medusa is associated with stone.
Right.
We have a Wiccan symbol And this one is, I mean, it's obvious. You have the same type of kind of mouth,
Yeah,
right? You
Yeah.
have two round rings.
yeah.
You have the heart shape,
Counterclockwise and clockwise.
right, coming off the rings. So this is another Tulare heart. And up
Yeah.
here you have a depiction of the sun.
Yeah,
Sunlight is coming down in between the magnets,
yeah,
down following the path of the conduit or your staff or wand.
yeah,
Here's a Tibetan representation of a figure with two rings, the flower representing magnet or magnetic fields.
right,
And if you see his hands, he's holding on or grabbing on to these filaments, this
Right.
energy. This would
Right.
be cosmic. Sunlight coming down, wraps around the magnets. He's showing you that he's controlling this force, this energy.
right,
Here's another one. Same thing, two round flowers representing magnetic fields and the filaments coming down, and he's holding on to them. He's using them for some purpose. Here's another one.
yeah.
Same thing, filaments
Yeah.
coming down.
And somehow I have a feeling because they're all in a state of meditation or whatever, that's how those things are being activated.
Could be. Here's another picture of the, I don't know what this looks like, the Gorgon to me, but this could be cosmic energy or the cosmic deity spewing down sunlight or energy. And over to the left and to the right, we have these ring shapes and this holding some type of, I really can't tell what that is, but he's
No,
underneath this split or divided,
it's almost like two beings in one being kind of thing.
right. It's some kind of force that they're able to divide or separate.
Yeah,
Same thing here. You have a Gorgon looking creature with his tongue sticking out,
yeah,
and you have sunlight coming down, sunlight coming down. He's showing you that he's in between these rays. He's splitting these rays, and he
Right.
has the tools. Here's the tool here that resembles somewhat like the Zeus Thunderbolt
right.
right here. And he also
Yeah.
has a gold spade
Yeah.
or spade shaped. And over here in the corner, he
There's
has
a
some kind of,
strap.
all right, and here's his staff or his wand.
Yeah,
You know, this is pretty interesting. So if we look at this one, this is Marduk, Mesopotamian god.
yeah,
And this is a depiction that I've seen this quite a few times. I mean, before, but I never knew, I'm trying to understand what it meant. But now if we take a really close look at it, he is
Yeah.
holding what looks to be a strand of filaments.
yeah,
Now, in that first picture, the second picture I showed you with that wizard, with
Yeah,
the
with the
cloud and the
little-
flower in the middle, the pot
the
was on the
little-
bottom, there was a pot on the top.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. You have some kind of vessel or pot with energy coming out of it. There's a
Yeah.
pot at the bottom. So
Oh, yeah.
now these filaments, he's showing you that I'm controlling this energy. I have a hold of this energy.
Right,
But on the left here, these filaments are broken.
right,
On the right, the filaments aren't broken. You have
Right.
filaments coming down, magnetic filaments or sunlight. Here's the sun. Here's the sun, showing you the energy, sunlight is coming down, right? Sunlight coming down on the left. And up in the middle, you have this flow of energy
Yeah.
moving upward. In
Right.
between 4 flower shapes or 4 circle shapes of
those
magnets.
are the mag.
Right. So you have cosmic energy coming down on left and right, and you have caloric energy going up to the center. And I'm going to explain what that means in a few minutes. So now these filaments, once they wrap around these magnets, they start to build up in the center, and this central point starts to get bigger and bigger. This plasma, and it grows and it grows, and it starts pushing outward on these filaments. And some of these filaments get wrapped around and broken off, and they're just floating out like hair.
Right,
And these are the serpents or the tentacles, the plasma, like the plasma globe, right? So the top one, south and north magnets, cosmic energy coming down, our cosmic heart. These filaments get wrapped around and broken off. And at the bottom, we have the what you call it, the Kraken. I call it the Kraken. You have
Right.
north and south heart. Okay, energy builds up in the center, pushes out these filaments or these serpents.
Right.
Here's some Greek pottery with some very peculiar looking pictures. Now, at first glance, this looks like it may be an octopus or some kind of sea creature, but it doesn't really have a body to it. It doesn't really have, anything else. All we
Right.
see is these two spirals looking eyes, right?
Yeah.
Something coming up or coming down. And here above the eyes, it's always above the eyes here, we have these tentacles or these
Yeah.
broken filaments.
Right.
Here's the fish representing telluric energy. Telluric
Right.
energy is always represented by some kind of ocean form, dolphins, fish, or a river, or crab.
Right.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
Now, so you have to ask yourself, if I'm going to paint an octopus or a sea creature, why not just paint the actual picture? Why am I drawing it in a different way to make it look like something that it's not? Here again, you see the two round circles or spherical spirals, the cosmic energy coming down, broken filaments, a flower which represents magnetism, and in between these filaments, you see some type of form or energy or flow. Here at the bottom here, you have the fish, which represents direction again.
It's a whole business of your subconscious knowing this better than you.
Right. And here you have another picture. This looks like, what could it be? Is it a bird? Is it is it a squid? You know what I mean? What are we looking at here? What are they trying to tell us? Again, you have the two spirals, two big bulging eyes of spirals, the filament coming out of the magnetic field, broken off, moving around. And if you look in between these filaments, you can see the flow, the arrow, the shape pointing towards some kind of flow in between the filaments.
Wow.
Can you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Right.
clear as day now.
Right. And here we have the fish again, showing us
Yeah.
direction. The cosmic telluric energy is pushing upward, but it has nowhere to go. So it's going to build up because the cosmic energy is coming down and it's filling this void here.
Right.
Here's another one, same thing. Two round spirals. Here's the little thing at the top, energy coming down. There's a void here. Here's the belly down here. You can hardly see it, but here's the fish again, representing direction. And in between the filaments, again, we see the arrows showing directional flow in between the filaments. And here's the actual arrows here.
Right.
It's unmistakable. Here's another one. Same thing, round eyes, energy coming down, wrapping around, broken magnetic filaments or plasma.
Right.
Here's another one. I think we get the idea now, but
Yeah.
there's another one made of gold, gold coin. This is Panama, pre-Hispanic gold and artifacts. So at one point, these people all had the same knowledge. They shared this knowledge. They knew what was going on.
Yeah. And they found a need to
Right,
preserve it.
right. Here we have another one. This looks like a very odd creature. Is it an alien? Is it a bug? Is it an ant? Here you have the tentacles coming down. But at the center here, you can see that these magnetic fields are creating almost I want to say a void or a space.
Yeah.
And you have these serpents, the Tulare serpents, moving upward, moving into this void.
Right.
Here's another one. Oh, sorry. There's another one.
Yeah.
Same thing. So you see the similarity. We're starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah.
We're looking
cool.
at round figures, round rings with filaments or magnetic fields. So if we were to say right now that these ancient people 10,000 years ago knew more about magnetism than we do, you know what I mean? You really can't.
Yeah. We're hooked.
Right. Here's another one. This one even shows you the serpent or the telluric energy moving upward.
Or the
Two
coil.
perfect,
it would
right,
say.
right. And one ray of sunlight,
Yeah.
magnetic filaments.
Yeah.
So we associate the south and north cosmic heart as with Medusa because the tentacles or the serpents are coming out of the top of the eyes. That is your cosmic, that is your Medusa. The bottom
Right.
section, the bottom half, you could call it Medusa's body, you could call it the Kraken, you could call it something else. But as we all know, the story of Medusa was the only way to defeat Medusa was to separate her head from the body. So if you
Right.
put the cosmic and the Teleric heart together, you get Medusa with the body.
Absolutely.
I
Oh, wow.
wonder, like, so I keep hearing the Kraken, and I just, every time I hear that, I think of QAnon and Trump and all that stuff that's going on, and they're going to release the Kraken.
No, don't,
Like,
you're
I
actually,
wonder what that has to do with this.
I don't know, but you're actually right. I was actually watching YouTube and I kept hearing that same thing too. And I kept thinking, what does the Kraken have to do with anything?
Something, I'm feeling something here.
All right,
Yeah.
so well, I call it the Kraken. It could be, we call it the Hydra. You ever heard the Hydra?
Yeah,
Some
from
people call it the, yeah, the many-headed snake or serpent. You can call it the Hydra, the Kraken. It could be Medusa's
again,
body.
there's a show I can't remember, but they have a whole organization called Hydra, which are the bad guys, and then it's a Marvel series.
Right. So
Of
the Kraken
course.
is so the Kraken is associated, as we know, with the Tulare heart. Now, if we look
Right.
off to the right and to the left here, we see the Tulare shape spiraling around downward, and at the bottom you see the cosmic. But up here at the top, you see these little shapes here.
Yeah,
Those are hearts. Those are all Tulare hearts. And you have two men here. I believe this is Hercules. He's holding on to the tentacles. He's telling you, I'm controlling this energy. I'm controlling this creature.
right.
Here's another one. But now this one is actually in the shape of a ring.
Right.
And they're both holding on to the tentacles. And at the bottom, we see the cosmic heart. And
Yeah,
at the top, we see the telluric hearts.
right.
Now, this is the Gorgon. This is my artistic representation of the Gorgon, which you're going to see. Now,
Right.
the Gorgon is a mythical figure or creature. It's found everywhere. It's found on Athena's shield. It's found all over. What it represents, it's also represented as Medusa, the Kraken, Loki. It's the picture of the Mayan calendar, the Chinese dragon. And what it is, you have to see it for yourself. It's a magnetic face. When you take four magnets, like I said, you put them together, okay, side by side, and you take your little pole finder and you move it around these magnets, you'll feel two bulging eyes at the top two magnets. You'll feel the nose in the center. You'll feel the mouth underneath, and you can actually feel the tongue going down. So what this is the north and south, the caloric energy becomes a capacitor, or we fill the cup with this energy. It's also associated with Vishnu's vessel, fill the cup of Hermes. You ever heard that term?
Yeah.
So here's a rendition of Medusa or the Gorgon. Now the Gorgon always has serpents for hair or whatever, and you have the tongue sticking out, sharp teeth. Here another representation of the Gorgon, tongue sticking out, bulging eyes, serpent for hair, serpents wrapped around the body. Here it is again, big bulging eyes. You can feel the nose, and right at the top, you can see the magnetic field flow.
Oh,
Serpents at the top. There's another one. If anyone wants to look at these longer, you can just let me know and I can stop for you. Here's another one, bulging eyes. You can feel the nose, the teeth, and the tongue. Here's the other one, tongue stick. There's always a tongue sticking out. And this is telling you north and south create that bottom flow. That's the tongue, the cup. This is Alexander the Great's bronze breastplate. And as you can see, it's the Medusa or the Kraken or the Gorgon. Tongue sticking out, eyes. So this was a very, very popular figure in ancient times. And it has some very important significance. Here's another one, two eyes.
go back to the previous one for a sec.
This one?
Yeah.
This is Alexander the Great's bronze breastplate. And then again, it's made out of bronze, which we know is conductive.
Yeah. Okay,
which I'm going to get to in a few minutes too, why that's so important.
okay.
Okay, here we have a Greek version of the Gorgon. It has two round eyes, the tongue sticking out, but around it you can actually see four rings, four magnetic fields around the Gorgon.
It reminds me a lot about a lot of Hindu figurines of gods with their tongues sticking out.
Right, and I believe they're all the same. They're all trying to explain the same thing.
Right.
Right, so now we get into the receivers, the wands or whatever you want to call them. We have
Yeah.
now we have our car. We know what the wands are made of. We know they're made of a conductive material. They are the conduit. Now we need to add the engine. We put the engine in the car, and now we can do some special things with it. I'm going to focus on one of these today, and it's going to be the Celtic Cross. So what they did, I believe, is they took these magnets and they put them in around on these staffs. This is what allowed the energy to flow through the staffs or the wands. So this is the caduceus. So if I was going to use this as with the magnets, I would place two magnets here and one here. You could tie them on, or maybe they would stick because they put tin in the bronze, which we know is magnetic. Here's a picture of Hermes showing two wands. And this is the secret of how he was able to levitate, how he was able to fly.
Right.
He used these two wands. Here he's holding a wand in his hand, showing cosmic, one wand showing Tularic. And on the ground, you can see Hermes has wings. And on the ground, he has wings on the ground, showing us that he's created some kind of field that he can use to fly or to float or levitate.
Mhm.
I'm not going to get into that too much today, but that's going to be another discussion later on. Here's another one. Now, if Hermes was a god and he has his special powers, here he is floating or flying around. These are his initiates. These are the people that he's teaching this stuff to, or somebody taught to him. But now he's using his wand. This lady's holding a wand herself,
Yeah.
representing the sun, which representing cosmic energy. Now he's
Right.
using a wand, right? But also, if you look at his feet, follow his feet down, he's being held down by a rope.
Right.
This man at the bottom is holding him on a rope. So if he's a true god and he can fly, why would we need to hold him down with a rope?
Right.
So here's another picture. So now we put the magnets on the wands.
Well, he's a god because he knows how the system works.
This is what we have. This is a shape of Zeus's thunderbolt. I'm sorry?
He's a god because he knows how it works, where
Right.
the initiates don't.
Right. And this is why so many people followed so many different gods, because they knew something that nobody else knew. They considered it to be magic. He had special power, special knowledge.
Right.
Here we have the Celtic Cross. It's also associated with the royal sun, the sun disk.
Yeah.
Here's a depiction of four magnets or four rings in the center. The Celtic Cross with four rings at the center, four rings here. Here's another one. Copper or gold or silver.
It's also the swastika, really.
Right, exactly. The swastika is just another type of receiver. See, the receivers weren't limited to certain shapes, which I'll get into in a few minutes. There's another depiction, the Celtic Cross, 4 perfectly circles or rings.
Yeah.
Same thing, the cross, 4 rings. Same thing,
Wow.
same thing.
Yeah.
This is on ancient pottery now. I mean, if I would looking at this and someone told me, Mike, this is resembling the sun. Okay, I would look up at the sun, and then I would come back and look at this, and I would ask, how does this associate with the sun?
Yeah, I would too.
So just like, that's the same thing. I was just thinking that, like all these geologists, is that your background? Or you're a geologist,
No,
Miguel?
I'm a painter.
But I was just thinking the same exact thing, that like, you know, the geologists are the people that are digging up. My brother is one of them, and he's just a regular Joe Schmo, but he loves to go dig up pottery. So in Texas, where I live, there's a lot of Indian pottery that's like buried in some of the grounds or whatever. And he
Mhm.
would go dig them up and he'd bring them to me and be all excited about it. And I was thinking, like, how exciting is that? Like, if he just brought me that, I would be like, okay, that's just pottery. Like, why is everybody so excited about the pottery? But now you're bringing a whole new light to what it is. Like,
It's what it represents. That's the
yeah.
significant part.
Elizabeth, you were asking the question earlier, well, what's all this have anything to do with anything? Well, this is an answer to your question. I think God's answer.
I'm like, I am mind blown, and he's not even till the end yet. It's like I'm hanging on to the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my God, will you marry me? Like, I need to know all this stuff.
We're getting to the good. We're actually getting to the good part now.
Okay.
All right. So now you see this deity here. I believe this could be Sumerian or Mesopotamian. What's really interesting about this figure is he has a tail.
Yeah.
So we ask it, why does this guy have a tail? And he's holding two staffs or two wands. Here we have the symbol for the sun disk, but it's on
Yeah.
a wand or a
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
We have why are we putting the sun on a staff? So this one is the Tulare moon staff.
Yeah.
You got one in each hand. So if we were going to reproduce this and try it out, this is what it would look like.
You gotta get a staff, man.
So this is what I can afford. So here we have a copper ring that I made, I put together, and it has a cross, the Celtic Cross,
Yeah.
and we put our magnets here, top and the bottom. Now
Yeah.
here's the thing: the direction is very important. You can either, you can only go two ways, or south or north, right? So if we can do south or north or south. We can do north, 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 and north. South, 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 and south. And each configuration actually creates a different magnetic field, and it allows you to manipulate the nature in different ways. That's where we get into now.
So, you know what you said about this is what I can afford?
Yeah.
If this formula was right, the affording part wouldn't be a problem for you because you wouldn't have to worry about affording anything because it would all be there for you if the formula of your staff was correct.
Right, right.
There's something missing. Because
Right.
one thing I can tell you for a certainty is working with David's staff and the infinity's frequencies, infinity's abundance,
Mm-hmm.
it really does bring abundance into your life.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so he knows something that's missing in this formula somewhere.
I'm thinking
Absolutely.
David needs to watch this, because I think there's
Well, that's why we're
there-
doing. That's why
yeah,
we're
I
doing.
think there's a meld here. I think they're both onto something
Of course.
together.
Well, that's why we're doing this. But I was supposed to do it with Michael without you, and I'm doing it so I can show it to David because he doesn't have time. But
I am
because
so glad I'm here.
because you guys were here and I felt like I wanted to share it with you guys, I just invited you and I asked Michael if I could.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm
Right.
getting,
We're,
my
we are
mind is
all-
going poof.
we are all contributing to the same cause in different ways in our own
Amen.
ways. So,
Amen.
right. So here we see a picture. This is a plasma experiment that was done. And this picture I took off the internet of a video. I think it was called the Gods of Electric or something like that, or the
Right.
Electric Universe. But
Right.
this is a plasma experiment. And here you see 4 magnetic fields. And in between
Yeah.
these 4 magnetic fields, you see the buildup of plasma.
Yeah.
And this has a certain shape, and this one has a certain shape.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at is 2 different versions of the same thing,
Same
2
thing.
different directions.
Yeah.
One direction causes buildup in the central area. The other directions cause buildups in the left and right and top and bottom areas.
Yeah. Got you.
So this is an actual proof that this magnetism builds up plasma.
Yeah.
Now, if we look at I'm sure you've seen these before. This is the Celtic Cross.
Yeah.
But here they're using it as a tombstone.
Yeah.
Now, if we look closely at this cross, you know that's Celtic religion and Celtic areas because they have these, it's always associated with knots.
Yeah.
See, they always have these certain kinds of knots, not
Yeah.
this way, 2 circles with knots, on the bottom
Yeah.
here, you see the spiral,
Yeah, but they still
Magnetic
have
field
a bunch-
knots, right? And that's what they're referring to as the knots, is these magnetic fields, these filaments can be knotted, they can be twisted, they can be moved, they can be broken.
Yeah.
If you look here, you see a ring, giant ring around the center.
Yeah,
And in the center of this ring, you see these 4 little circles.
yeah, the
These
magnet.
could be cylinder magnets.
Yeah.
This could be an ancient depiction of a device that they found on Earth a long time ago. Or it could be something.
Maybe it is a device and it's doing something right now that we just don't understand.
Yeah, maybe
Right,
it's called
this-
CERN.
Right,
Yeah.
this one here, this wheel has a special purpose. This wheel can be turned, if this were
Yeah.
the original device. And there's
Yeah.
a purpose for that.
Free energy.
Okay, so now we take our engine, we put it in our staffs, and this is what we can do. So if I took this, Celtic Cross, and I put the 2 magnets at the top, south and north, I create my cosmic heart. Sunlight comes down, wraps around the magnets on both sides, goes back up towards the central area. But if I put this staff and I stick it in the ground, I'm going to be pulling up telluric energy, because telluric energy rises. Cosmic energy comes down. So in the central pole, it would rise, the telluric energy would rise up and build up in this area here,
Right.
right? This creates, so if we associated, let's say sunlight was positive and we gave value to telluric energy instead it was negative, then we can see the differences here. So telluric energy coming up would be negative, it would fill up inside the positive space. These tentacles that wrap around, they get broken off, and these would be positive filaments. So this would be your Kraken or your Medusa's body, same thing. Celtic Cross, stuck in the ground, but now the telluric energy is coming up, moving back around. Sunlight is coming straight down through the cross, through the conduit, building up an area of plasma here underneath the magnets. And you're actually putting sunlight building up, which pushes out the filaments even further, creating the broken filaments.
Wow.
All right, so where do we go from here? This is the
So-
evolution.
So how do you repair those broken filaments?
I'll show you. It's coming up next.
Okay.
Well, they don't really need to be repaired. They just need to be redirected.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what I think about the Kraken right now, like about releasing the Kraken. Like it's like we just need to redirect what's going on with positive and negative forces that are being played out right now in our political system.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry I keep taking that political, but that hasn't been my whole mindset through the whole thing. I'm really mind blown, but I just keep getting these like aha, 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 aha. And I'm thank you. Like, thank you. I'm so happy to be here right now.
Well, thank you for joining me. I was really kind of nervous about doing this. This is my first presentation
You're
live. So,
doing an awesome job. I mean, this is like mind blowing.
You
okay,
are.
so thank you. All right, so
Michael, after you do your presentation, can we do a little interview?
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to get through this real quickly. This is the
Yeah.
evolution of the staffs. Now, these staffs or these things, they're not limited to certain shapes.
Yeah.
They started off with using one magnet. Somebody got the idea, or somebody taught this to somebody, but someday, a long time ago, somebody got the great idea of putting a magnet on a stick and sticking it in the ground. And this is what we have here. So we're not limited to using 4 magnets or 2 magnets. They started off using one magnet and slowly built up to 2 magnets, and then 3 magnets, and then 4, and then 5. And we see evidence up to 10 magnets.
Yeah.
Right. I also want you to keep in mind that this presentation originally has 980 photographs. I've narrowed it down to about 200 for today. So there is
Oh,
plenty
I want
more.
to see that. I want to see the whole one.
Right. I was printing and printing. I spent $240 on printer ink, and then my wife cut me off. So we had to stop it there.
That's funny.
Right. So here we get
and
into
that almost looks like the rib cage.
which one? This one?
Well, the
this one?
spiral. It feels like the rib
Yeah.
cage. It feels like
Right.
And the spine is maybe our staff, right?
Could be. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to get into that too. Here we have a couple more. These are all copper or bronze. Sorry. And they started getting creative with it. They realized they could use one magnet, and then they started realizing they could use two, and they experimented with other things, coils.
Shapes, coils, yeah.
Right. And here we started getting to these things. These are
Right.
receivers as well. These have two purposes. These things were polished to almost a smooth mirror-like finish. And here you're going to see, they always have the same crown or crest right here. And I
Right.
believe this is where you put the magnets, one here and one here. This would receive the cosmic energy. It would come down here and wrap around. Okay, here's another one. And they could also use this to redirect the sunlight or focus the sunlight on a staff. Here's another one. This is the god of Hathor, which is an Egyptian god.
Yeah.
Here again, you can see the surface is polished, almost a mirror-like finish, which would be reflective. It's made of gold, which is conductive. And here you have a space to put your ring magnets. Here's another one.
Right.
But these are, now you got to see the similarity here. These are different cultures. These are different, Egyptians, Greek.
It's the
Another
100 monkeys. It's the 100 monkeys
Right,
influence.
and they're all the same.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So spirit gives everyone an idea, and the idea becomes a reality.
Yeah, and I also believe this knowledge, like I said, it was once shared. I believe at one point, almost every culture knew this knowledge. I believe it was commonplace.
Yeah.
We call it magic, but then it slowly either died out and people started keeping it secret, keeping it to themselves, and they formed these secret societies like the Illuminati,
Right.
the Freemasons, the Knights Templar. But now they got creative. They realized you didn't really need the staff to use this energy. So they started experimenting. Here you have the Medusa with the serpents for hair, two obviously round rings, right? Flow coming down,
Yeah.
showing you the Tulare flow. So they got a little creative. Here's another one, two obvious rings, Tulare flow moving upward or downward, the serpents
Right.
for hair. Here you have two hair extensions, reaching up towards the sky to collect more sunlight.
Right.
Then they started getting more creative. When they realized that this cosmic and telluric energy could change a person, change a person's physics, DNA, positive attributes that they put into their bodies. So they wanted to absorb this energy. They wanted to radiate with this energy. They started putting it into clothing. Here you have actually two large ring magnet covers. This is a chest plate they would drape over their chest. And if we look back in history, we see all these gods and all these ancient figures had these large bronze bracelets or golden chest pieces or hats or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Breastplates. Yeah. Of course.
Right. So here's another depiction.
Yeah.
These look like earrings, but they're not.
Yeah.
These are two ring magnets. This is a golden idol that they created into it. These are more staffs and receivers. Obviously, the magnetic flow. See, all these symbols, certain things here, they're showing us one thing. It's not like there's 20 different things and we're trying to figure out what each of them mean. We're looking at the same structure, the same pattern over and over again.
Right.
And we're starting to realize that it's telling us one certain thing from different places and different times in history.
Right.
So you have the cosmic heart, a cosmic heart. This is where you put the magnets here and here, or up here. Here you have a 4-ring configuration made out of bronze.
Yeah.
This creates the union, 4 rings. So the guys started getting more creative with it. They started building idols, face masks, helmets. This helmet is made of solid gold because they believe they put this golden helmet on and they received this cosmic energy. They would gain ultimate knowledge of the universe.
Wow.
or connect with the gods.
or something.
Right. Oop. Here you go again. Weird, funny looking hat.
So it's a big leap of faith when you're talking about magnets and things to do with telluric energy and cosmic energy. But it's another thing to apply it to a human being. So how do you get from one to the other?
Well, these represent here would be magnets. They would place the magnets on here, and this would actually flow the energy through their body. They become the conduit themselves, and they use this golden clothing to conduct the current or the energy. So they built these weird looking hats. I don't know if you've ever seen one. I don't have a picture of it yet, but there's they made a discovery about these 3 hats that they found. They're made of solid gold, and they're probably about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 feet tall.
I know the Hindu gods had really tall hats and really and they wrapped around the head and they were gold and they were huge, and yeah, absolutely. Right. I totally get that.
So that's the concept, is once they understood that they can manipulate this nature, they wanted to become the gods. They wanted to absorb this radiation, the godlike power.
Well, that's the same as like the Pope's hat you asked earlier about what it represents, and that's just his public facing hat. But he has a hat that's made of a lot of amulets and jewels and stuff like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't some sort of magnetic property that was involved in that
You
as well.
mentioned the jewels, right? You mentioned the jewels, and that's coming up next. They built these golden gloves. They wanted, like I said, they wanted to absorb more of this energy as they possibly could. And if you look at the pictures, like I said, I have 700 more. You can go through them and look at each one, and they're all telling you that these people, they knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Here you have a helmet. Right at the bottom here, you can actually see the Tulare heart.
Yeah.
Cosmic heart over here. And it even has 2 antennas.
How old is this?
I can't read what it says. I'll look in my photo album and I'll let you know.
Okay.
You read that?
That's why I'm more convinced that we're like an experiment here, because like we think we know it all, and like, our ancient ancestors didn't know, and how did they have the technology, because we can't do that here today. But it's like they did long time ago, and like we got memory wiped or erased or whatever, and we're here like the monkey primates trying to relearn it all again.
We're the same people. We just forgotten who we are. That's what I look at it.
I agree.
Do you think we forgot, or it was like some type of memory wipe so that we could start all over? Because technology got so advanced that there was nowhere else to go. So we said, okay, let's just blank slate and start all over and see where we can go from here.
Well, that could be too, but then you bring in the Great Flood into it. I mean, the Great Flood all but wiped out humanity, but yet these clues are, they still remain. They're still there.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is, it's a simple, very simple, basic, fundamental concept, but it's hidden in plain sight. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
One just has to be willing to accept it, and one has to be willing to look for it.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
But here you have a hat, some kind of metallic hat with these little rings on the side. You place 2 magnets here, and again, the cosmic energy would come down. This is what they believe. The cosmic energy would come down.
If you turn it upside down, it kind of almost looks like a sailor's hat, like from the back.
Right. But it might actually be upside down. We don't know. I mean, this could be, this could be the bottom part of it.
Right.
But so this energy would move through the metal. And again, they believe that they could capture the essence of the gods, or the godlike powers, or ultimate knowledge.
I wonder if the hats that the military wear and all that, their design is made for a certain purpose, because they all kind of point in the front, right? Or they have certain structure to them.
Right, right.
Yeah, so that would make those little magnets pointing to the back of the neck or the base of the spine, and maybe even activating the pineal gland if you wanted to go that far.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah.
And again, like I said,
because they always have gold symbols and things on, like actual gold symbols and things on their hats, right? For various badges and things. I wonder if that does something now.
Could be.
right.
If the little spiral things are on the back of the head, that's where the spine connects to the brain, And the spine could be like the antenna connecting from the gods to our spirit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Or
yeah.
it's like the
That's
what is it? The thymus gland? Thymus
Hypothalamus.
gland?
Thymus gland. The thalamus? What are you talking about?
Actually, I was speaking of the vagus nerve.
Okay,
It's
okay.
back there, and that could be true too.
Okay,
Yeah.
now this is where it gets very interesting. You're gonna see, whoops, sorry. So how do we use this? Now we have the car, and we have the engine. So how do we use this technology? How do we use this power? How do we create an actual cosmic and telluric union? Well, like I said, the ancient Hindus believed that they could separate a ray of light and move through it or move in between it and transcend either mentally or spiritually or physically, to the point of a source, which would be the sun or another planet possibly. So if we take this configuration, south, north, north, south, we follow the magnetic flow, this is what happens. This is what we create. You have sunlight coming down around, and then you have added two other factors here, which is north and south, which is the downward facing. Now the sunlight comes around, wraps around, and it gets pushed in between the center here, and then pushed downward. So now we have sunlight collecting here inside the device, and you have caloric energy moving upward into the center, which gets pushed up, onward, upward through here, to this little space or this gap or this void.
Right.
Now we have a cosmic and telluric energy exchange. We're actually taking sunlight, pushing it down where the telluric energy should be. We're taking telluric energy and pushing it up where the sunlight energy should be. So we're switching this field. And here in the
Right.
center here, you have your plane of inertia.
Right.
Okay. You're taking
So,
positive energy.
so then that's what the Merkaba is too. Which is the triangle pointing down, the triangle pointing up.
There you go. So if we put a triangle around this one and a triangle around this one, these two would be butted up to each other. They're not actually unionized yet. This is just one configuration. The next one is going to be the union. So this is the energy exchange. Now, if we know, does anyone know about Hindu, about Shiva stories?
Yeah,
The story of Shiva's throat.
yeah.
Okay, they used to make the amrit. They used to purify the amrit.
That's the the holy water, the Amrit or
The elixir-
whatever.
Right,
He
the elixir of life.
poisoned with it. He poisoned I can't remember, poisoned the earth with it or poisoned the oceans with it or something like that.
Bingo. When they went to purify the amrit, the poison would come out and go into the air.
Yeah.
So they called upon their the Neanderthal men or the monkey men, they called them at that time, and they tried to figure out a way to not poison the atmosphere.
Right.
So Shiva drank the poison. The poison got stuck and he held it in his throat, and then that's how he turned blue.
Yeah.
That's the story.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So this is a representation of Shiva's throat. Shiva drinks the poison, keeps the poison in the throat, not harming the atmosphere. So now if we separate this, cut this in half, it's also representation of the lotus, as you can see the outline, the closed lotus. Now we go back and look at Zeus and Shiva, two of the same similar gods. They both have these special powers. They had one had a trident, one
Trishul and the
Vishnu and Brahma.
Yeah.
So if we put the trident and we trident onto this, you can see that Shiva's trident is pretty much the same shape as this is. And if you take Zeus's lightning bolt and put it right in the center here, you can see that it forms perfectly with the outline of the magnetic fields and the energy buildup.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So if you cut this in half, now it gets more interesting than that. Just hold on. So we know that Zeus was the god of storms. Shiva was able to create a pillar of cloud, that went so far high up, so far down that they couldn't see the end of it. So Vishnu would fly up and try to find the end of this thing. So Shiva became the ultimate god. They had like a little challenge.
Right.
So this is how you would create the pillar of cloud. You take cosmic energy, you build up, because we know telluric energy moves upward. So the moon shape, telluric energy is always moving upwards, separating these lights. Now this energy can go and travel all the way up to the sun. Now imagine taking enough energy and keep going all the way to the sun and then releasing it back on the earth.
Wow.
Can you imagine the immense power that that would have and the devastation that would create? And this is why Shiva was known as the god of destruction.
Right.
Zeus was able to use this to call upon storms or lightning. Yeah, if you know the story of Moses, the tabernacle, they placed the ark in the tabernacle and they could see a pillar of cloud coming out of the tabernacle.
Same thing.
Right. So here you have positive energy at the top, the plane of inertia at the center, the bottom would be negative energy. Okay. This is also how the bodies, female bodies or male bodies, are formed.
Right.
Wraps around through the hips and the breasts or the shoulders. If you look at your shoulders, your muscles are filaments. Your hips are your hips, your front legs, those are where your tightest filaments and your biggest muscles are. So this is also how bones are shaped.
Right.
You look at a knee bone or elbow bone, these are how bones are formed.
Wow.
This is also how a stalk is formed. You ever seen stalks in that shape?
Yeah.
This is also how neurons communicate with the brain. We have these neurons in the brain. This is the shape of the neurons, and this is how the neurons communicate. They send the information to one on the outside, and they push it in the center of another one. Information comes back, it's fed back into it, and they translate these languages, this language back and forth to each other.
So
That's how you're
everything
doing.
in nature is identical. It's the same thing.
Right. This is also, so anybody know what a dorje is?
No.
I don't know if I pronounced that right. D-O-R-G-A-J-E. Dorja or dorje. Look it up. It's a device that the Tibetan Jews or Hindus used. And it's also associated with destruction.
Okay.
All right.
Probably
Now we
no
go
one.
on to. Now, if we look at this picture, this is a representation of a light ray. And we have this deity separating this light beam. You can see he has two arms coming, it's hard to see, but he has two arms holding up here, and he has two devices in his hands. He's showing you that I'm using these devices to separate this energy, this light.
Right.
Notice his hands are pointed downward,
Yeah.
okay? He has an elongated head, the Gorgon face, two bulging eyes, he has his tongue sticking out,
Yeah.
very elongated head, arms pointing downward towards his center, like this.
Right.
Now, if we go back and look at this again, you see the same thing. Elongated head, two arms holding up, arms moving downward, facing pointing downward.
Right.
So he's showing you that this is how you separate light. This is how you use your power to create an energy exchange.
Right. Wow.
Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Now we get into, this is also, I believe, the foundation for the Hindu dance. Or
Wow.
you ever seen anybody dance like that with their arms up like this?
Yeah, absolutely.
And their legs are spread and they're going like this?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're referring to.
Right.
That is the Shiva dance.
Right.
It's also the praying Buddha.
Yeah.
If you imagine Buddha's head here, his arms come down, his hands are folded in the center here,
Yeah.
praying. That's your praying Buddha. And here's
Yeah.
his legs crossed at the bottom. I want you to remember this part right here where the sun is.
Yeah.
Remember that. This is the praying Buddha. Now you
Right.
notice the praying Buddha has several arms.
Yeah.
These represent those magnetic filaments, those broken magnetic filaments. These are all the tools that they use to
Yeah.
create this union. Here you have the praying Buddha's hands upward. And at the bottom here, you see this little vessel.
Right.
That's where they're showing you, this is where they put the vessel. Here's the praying Buddha.
Even their outfits have a sun at the waist.
Right. This is how you put sunlight in a bottle or sunshine in a bottle.
That also kind of reminds me of like the birth canal for some reason.
Of course it does.
There's another version of the same. This is from, which one is this? One of them's Chinese and one of them's Indian.
Japanese. Indian? This is not Indian. Maybe Malaysian.
Golden Buddha. Dark photo. Can't remember which one it is.
Same
So we
image.
have the same thing. We have the elongated showing you, now you see the arms reaching up like this, moving downward. These are the filaments, the broken filaments. His arms come down, praying Buddha. And here's your vessel again, capturing sunlight in a bottle. And underneath you have the great serpent.
Right.
When you hear the term raise the serpent, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about raising caloric energy.
Or Kundalini or whatever.
Yeah, there's the standing Buddha. He has a big belly, arms facing up certain direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the actual union. This is the cosmic and telluric union. This is when you take a north and south and a south and north magnet and you put these together. Now the magnetic field changes. You can feel this with your pole finder. You can, go around. But this is actually two hearts,
Right.
telluric heart and the cosmic heart,
Right.
move together to create that union. Okay, here's the Catholic symbol for union underneath here.
Yeah.
You have the 4 dots. This is also the shape. If you look at the top part here, it's also the shape of the Pope's hat,
Right.
the Pope's robe, and the Pope wears these lapels. Somebody mentioned jewelry. He has these 3 lapels that he wears on his chest. There are 4 little red dots inside of a circle, and they look like a little letter opener or some kind of dagger or knife, right? So Hades and Brahma were the gods of the underworld. They were the gods of creation, rebirth, fertility, resurrection, purification. So what we're doing here is we're taking the same thing, we're taking that energy, and we're unionize it. So now we're creating a field, positive and negative field, on the outside of the device, which would create radiation on the outside or a different field around the area of the device. Down here, you see a little flag. This is the British flag. Everyone knows that. It's also known as the Union Jack.
Yeah.
They're telling you this is the shape. This is how energy flows through the universe, which I'll get into another time. There's actually an ancient, I don't want to say secret, but an ancient geometric map that I'm going to show that has so many things in it. I mean, every Masonic symbol, everything you can think of about religion or like that, it's in the map. So this symbol here, we see 2 rings intertwined or moving together. I don't know if anyone associates that with anything, but it's also associated with
Saturn?
Jesus, the knot or some kind of thing. But what this is showing you that there's 2 magnetic fields
Yeah.
going the same direction. So if I follow the south counterclockwise direction, it would create this shape. North would create the opposite shape.
Right.
Okay? This is the symbol for union. This is the symbol for union. This is the Catholic symbol for union. This is the Masonic or Hermetic
Jewish
symbol for
symbol.
union, Jewish, right. So it's all about the same thing. It's about union. So we have the Pope's hat, the Pope's lapels. So this is something you could do. If you can create a field like this, this is, I believe, what they use to resurrect people. Now, the next photo is going to show that. So here you have that Catholic union symbol. I'm sure everybody's seen this once or twice, right? So
Yeah.
what this is, if you turn it sideways just a little bit and you follow the lines,
Yeah.
and you draw a line, you can actually draw 2 hearts that
Well,
are
there-
intertwined.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's actually 2 hearts coming together, which creates our union. If you remember the first picture I showed you,
Yeah.
those 2 hearts, once you bring those together, that is creating a cosmic and telluric union. Here you have the rainbow of light, and underneath it you have our cross or a Celtic cross, our device, and inside of it you have these little spirals, cosmic energy spirals or magnetic fields. Underneath here it shows all these little people coming out of the graves, depicting resurrection.
Wow.
I call it reincarnation.
Could be, yes. And up here you have the symbol for the moon and the sun. Now, what we haven't talked about yet is everybody knows about the equinoxes and these ley lines that we find all over the
Right.
world.
Yeah. David's
Yes.
adamant about running frequencies at equinoxes.
Mhm.
But we can't get enough people to do them. But we feel that if enough people would run frequencies at the equinoxes, our reality would change.
Possibly, yes, I believe that. So, but now we have our car, we have our engine, we know what we can do with it, but now we need two things to keep it running. We need fuel, right? We need to
Right.
find somewhere where the energy is most abundant. So we think about where we can find these places on Earth where this energy is like a gas station, where we can plant them in the ground, or we can collect as much energy as possible. And so time and place are very important factors in this. So that's why we talk about the equinoxes, because there's twice a year or 4 times a year. I don't know how many there are for sure, but where the sunlight is more, there's more sunlight on those days than any other days throughout the year. And these people knew this. So they would find these ley lines out in these fields or these places like Egypt, Stonehenge, underneath all these churches and temples that they were built. And they would find these places, and this is where they would work this magic. This is where they would do this thing. So here's a picture of the Fleur De Lis. As you can see, same shape there at the top. There's one at the bottom. Now the bottom half, I'm not going to talk about today. Once you get into Norse mythology, this has a lot to do with it. This bottom part, the south and north with the big tongue sticking out.
I studied Norse. Certainly not from this angle.
I'm sorry?
I studied Norse mythology, but certainly not in having this into consideration.
Right. If you ever heard the term Nighthog or Nighterhog,
Yeah.
the great serpent that wraps around the planet, this right here.
Right. What about the serpent eating its own tail? What's that?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked up into that yet.
That shows up in a lot of myths.
It does. It's actually in a Hermetic picture too that I'll show. I think I've showed it.
Yeah, everywhere. Those haven't
So here
figured
we-
that out yet. All these
Right.
ones are logical, but I wasn't able to figure that one out yet.
Yeah. Right. So here again, we have another depiction of the Fleur De Lis, but here we have the swastikas again. So now we know that the swastika could be a receiver. You could place 4 magnets inside this. The swastika is often depicted with 4 dots or 4 circles inside of it. Here's another depiction of the Fleur De Lis, but this
So it's a
time it has,
receiver just as a shape drawn in a space?
I'm sorry?
So is it a receiver just as a shape or a geometric figure drawn in a space? Like, does it right there, does it serve as a receiver, or is it trying to depict?
Well, here, if you take the magnets and you place
Yeah.
them inside of a receiver and you follow the magnetic field, this is the shape of the magnetic field. The sunlight
Right.
coming down, or the telluric energy moving up. And as we know, energy doesn't move in a straight line. So the
Right.
energy actually twists as it's moving. Okay.
Right.
So you have these little petals, and these are called the flowers. You'll see a lot of ancient mosaics that are found underneath churches, and you'll see these pictures of these 4 flowers always together,
Yeah.
or these four petals or 4 leaves.
Yeah.
So Shiros, that kind of reminds me of David's vortex bed when he's saying to place the magnets. So if you were to place the magnets in that particular order, like the south, north, north, south, or whatever, and play the sound of the sun at the same time, like you're receiving
Well,
that, like fear.
that's what you're doing when you, so you have if you buy the level 3 or whatever it is, the one that comes with the magnet pad. So you lay the magnet pad on the bottom, your vortex bed goes on top, which has 4 coils in it, and then you drop a magnet in each of the coils, so it snaps against the magnet pad at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you're spinning your 4 chakras, your main 4 chakras.
What you're going to be happy to find out is the Greeks actually had a vortex bed as well. And that's it's in Greek pottery. Yeah, I can show you pictures of that too.
Wow.
So here you have another one. You have 2 large rings, flowers representing magnets, with the Fleur De Lis in the center, and at the bottom you have a depiction of a deity with the telluric energy coming out. Here's my favorite one. Here you have the Fleur De Lis, double Fleur De Lis. Here you have a little circle on the left. Now this one you can't really see, but it's
But
there.
it's there. Yeah, I
Right.
see it.
It was worn off. But to the left here, what do you see?
The staff.
A staff with 2 rings at the top.
And well, what
Caloric energy.
in the middle of the staff, is that the sun energy then?
I believe this is the staff, and then the energy is coming up around the staff
Yeah, I
to the
agree.
magnets.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why we didn't learn all this stuff in school.
Because yeah, that's a really good question.
All right, so we're getting to the end of here, but this is Poseidon and Vishnu, 2 of the similar gods. Has anyone heard about the story of the Rainbow Bridge that
I
Vishnu was
haven't.
able to create?
I have.
Maybe.
I haven't heard this whole story either, but I know there's a rainbow
Uh,
bridge in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is cosmic and telluric energy separation.
Right.
This is when you take south and north, and you create a field inside of the device. Cosmic energy would come down on both sides, right? Telluric energy
Yeah.
will go straight up through the middle and creating a negative field inside the device. This is how you purify something. This is how you would change the structure of something. You put this on a staff, and I'm going to show what this is going to mean here.
Okay.
So we go back. I call it the rainbow bridge. You use the trident to do this. All right. This is how
Okay.
they purified the amaranth. This is
Yeah.
also how you soften the stone.
Right.
I'm going to skip the iron pillar part right now. But if you put this on the iron, you ever heard of the iron pillar?
I
The
haven't.
Tibetan Hindu iron pillar?
Is it Hindu? It's Hindu, I think.
I think it's Hindu. Yeah, there's a giant pillar. It's made of iron, but it's like 2,000 something years old, and it hasn't rusted because it was made out of a special
Yeah.
material.
Read about it somewhere.
Right, and it had some kind of great purpose.
Yeah, it has properties, so it doesn't tarnish or anything.
Right, but the iron pillar, the monkey king, that's all a different discussion. So here we see it.
Monkey King is Hanuman. That's Hindu for sure.
Hanuman, correct. Yep. So here you take the trident, and these depictions of the trident.
Why do you say second Adama?
Well, there's
You've got to go into this because I'm kind of into this.
Okay, there's different versions of the story. I can't remember who it was, but there was a story that the first Adama, first man was created. He was made of clay. They couldn't work very well, so they made a second man. They made a second Adama. This Adama was very powerful, very strong, very agile, but it was just too strong for whoever made him, whoever created him. And then they created a third Adama, or third man, which was pretty much kind of like us. So that's the story. I believe the second Adama was the monkey king, Hanuman. Or Hanuman was the king of the monkey people. Now there's depictions of these monkey people all over ancient history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you think about, if you created let's say a human being or a Homo sapien out of a chimpanzee, we're only 2 chromosomes away from a chimpanzee.
Right.
And if you take one of those 2 chromosomes and you put them together and they put it down in one of our slots, what if you could reverse that process? If our DNA was genetically altered, what if you could reverse that process? What would we become? We would have become very strong. We would become very agile. We would have all these little things that we were missing. So you're basically undoing what was done. You were setting things back to the way they should be, reversing that genetic alteration.
So what if we're creating the fourth Adama now with AI?
Yeah, good point. Very good point. What's after that? After we do AI and they take over the world, then what? What's the AI going to create?
Yeah.
Who knows? So here's some depiction of the trident, but you'll notice that inside the trident, for some reason, you have these little
coils.
Magnetic field lines. So why are we putting squiggly lines inside of a trident?
Right.
Here's another one. But now you see here, you have the dolphin swimming downward, showing you directions. This is the staff. Here's the magnetic fields inside, the magnets, the cosmic energy coming down.
Okay, so does Santa fit into all this?
Santa? I don't know. Not yet, anyway. So here you have another staff, same picture. It's always the same. Why are these different coins, these different people telling us the same thing? You know, this is from Kyra, ancient Greek, Malassa, whatever that is. These are different times.
Yeah.
This is Sicily, Syracuse. Here's again. The trident, oil fields inside, directions coming down, cosmic energy. Now here's that pillar I was telling you about. And here you have two figures dancing in what looks to be like some kind of field.
Right.
Now, if we did that with this pillar, that's exactly what the shape of the field will look like. Two magnets here, two magnets down here. The magnetic field will reach out and reconnect with itself. And there's some kind of energy field that they're basking in or dancing in or soaking up.
Right.
So here you have the Sumerian pillar. Here you have a pillar down here, right? You see the hooks coming out?
Yeah.
This is where you can put the magnets.
Yeah.
They've actually added some kind of metallic extensions to this, creating some type of field. And this figure up at the top here is inside of a giant ring, and he's floating. We know he's flying because these people are holding him again by a rope or a string or some kind of filament.
Right.
So again, we have a depiction of levitation in ancient history, but they're holding him down like he's floating away if they let go.
Right.
We're not talking about true gods. We're talking about science.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with science, I think, is that, you know, I think both are equally ignorant without the wisdom of the other.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
we believe so much in science, we believe so much in religion, but the two have been separated for so long. And once they come
They're
together,
hand in hand. They got to go hand in hand.
right? And once they come together, then we can start to understand what this all means.
Yeah.
Here's a very interesting picture here. I'm going to see if I
But
can.
something tells me there's people who exist who know what it means. There's people who exist who don't want the others to know what it means, which makes it really difficult for us all to come together, right?
Right. That's why we need to share that stuff. I mean, I could be completely bonkers and I'm just misinterpreting all this information. But if somebody else comes along and they see the same thing, then at some point you have to ask yourself, you know, are we dealing? What are we talking about here? Are we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
gonna stop
Mikhail,
it.
I think you're completely nuts.
Thank you.
I think you're completely out of your mind,
Thank
and
you.
that's a good place to be.
All right. All right. I'm going to see if I can pull up this picture somehow. Go.
Thank you so much for doing this with us. I'm going to get you to do it again for our inner circle.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks for bearing with me. I mean, I'm new to all this stuff. I haven't done any
No worries.
presentations before, so.
No worries.
All right.
You're
Can you see
doing
that
an
picture
awesome
here?
job.
Can you all see that?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So now we get into, this is called, you're familiar with the story of the sword and the stone, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So
Arthur.
this is how you would soften a stone. Now we're
Right.
all familiar with Medusa. Medusa was associated with turning the stone or turning the stone.
Yeah.
All right. So if you look at this, we have two magnets, south and north. Creates a flow upward. And if we place this on a staff or a bronze antenna, does anybody know what a bronze antenna sword is?
Okay, wait, I have to interrupt for a second. So I'm still seeing the photo of the giant statue with like a staff and like a monkey
you
or
are?
something. On it. Yeah.
Okay, then I did that wrong.
Can you tell us about it before you go to the next one?
Yeah, that's what I was trying. I'm trying to show you a different picture. Hold on, let me see if I can this way. I forgot to add this one, so we kind of got neglected. You kind of see that?
Hang on.
Okay, yeah. That looks like an octopus or something.
Right, it's a
Yeah,
squid.
it looks like an octopus. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
This is a sword. What this is a bronze antenna sword. Is anybody familiar with that?
No.
Probably David.
An antenna sword was an ancient sword made out of bronze, which wasn't very useful in wars.
Yeah,
But they always-
David says that the staffs evolved to a sword.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So you can't see that picture. Let me put this back. Where'd my, there you go. So you're seeing the guy with the statue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he's holding in his hand, you see he's holding a staff. It's very thick at the center. At the top, you have this arch
Right.
metal plate or metal part of the staff. And obviously you see the two rings
Right.
representing the two magnets on the staff. And he's holding it right at the bottom. You see there's a metal ball at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the staff, the south and north. And what happens is when you place this is how they soften the stone. This is how they created the stone holes. Now, if you place this staff on the rock, sunlight would come down, obviously create the Medusa figure. And someone asked earlier, how do you reconnect these broken filaments?
Yeah.
Well,
That was
these broken filaments will come out and they'll start floating around like hair, like Medusa's hair. But if you add the staff to them, if you add the staff at the bottom, these filaments will actually find their way back down and move to the
Right.
outside, follow the path downward. And this caloric energy would come up through the center of the staff and out the top, and coalesce at the top here.
right.
What's happening is you're taking the telluric energy out of the stone and you're replacing it with cosmic energy. So you're taking negative energy out and you're putting positive energy in. And I think this is what they use to soften or make the stones lightweight.
Right.
And they use this is how they created these holes.
Right.
All over the world, you see these large rocks with these giant, large holes in them. And I think this is where they were practicing this. They would put the staves on the rocks, wait a little while, soften the stone, push on it and create these holes. And I'm not going to go as far as to say this is how they built the pyramids because I have no idea. But
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
it's possible, but if you make stones lightweight, you take all, I don't know how it works. If you take, let's say there was water in the stone, and you could replace that with sunlight or cosmic energy, the stone may become lighter, may become softer.
Right.
Well,
Maybe
because they had to travel across, like, what was it, 400 and
400 or 500 miles, yeah.
yeah, to
Over
take that
land and
stone
boat.
to build it.
Right. So maybe these stones they just made really light, and you were just able to pick them up and carry them.
Wow.
And then you put them back down, and maybe it rains, and then it saturates the stone again, and it turns,
Solid again. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, like
So-
chia pets.
Yeah, so all over the world, we see these giant holes and these rings on the stones. I think that's where they were practicing this process. And if you see
Right.
this one here, obviously we see two rings,
Yeah. See
the
it.
same kind of face, glowing head representing
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
more holes, more. So
Yeah.
this is the part of the top of the bronze antenna swords I was telling you about. So this right here, this is an actual receiver. This would be a cosmic receiver without a staff. You put the staff on it, put it in the ground, then it becomes a cosmic and telluric staff. If you
Right.
use the cosmic area by itself, it's just a cosmic staff. You're not
Right.
pulling up telluric energy. So here
Right.
you have the receiver, which is also the Roman symbol we were looking at earlier.
Yeah.
Here you have the two rings, two magnets they would place in here. This would be the other part of the sword they would connect it to make a cosmic and telluric sword. Here's another device they could have used as the cosmic receiver. Two magnets here. This was actually a shape of an axe. Well, these tools or these weapons that they had, just like the gods, the gods had the trident, the other staffs or whatever. They could have used them as weapons. So maybe these
Right.
people were building these weapons and using them, in another way. So here's that symbol again, the Roman symbol. It's also the symbol of the anchor, the
Right.
Greek anchor. Here you have the Greek anchor associated with the Gorgon, the
Wow.
Greek Gorgon, tongue
Right.
sticking out, serpent for hair. So why do you ask yourself, why is the Gorgon or Medusa associated with the anchor?
Right.
There has to be a specific reason.
There doesn't have to be, but there obviously is.
Right. So here you have a perfect example of an antenna sword. You see the
Right.
top part where they put the magnets. Telluric energy would go up through the center. Cosmic energy would come down. The filaments would
Creating
grab
a
onto.
circuit.
I'm sorry?
Creating a circuit.
Yeah, there you go, like a motor.
Yeah.
It's basically just an exchange. Here's another example. These antenna swords always had these weird little spirals at the top. We put the
So
magnet.
I wonder if it points down or points up, it does something different, right?
Possibly, possibly. So you put the magnets here, and here you have this little part right here. All you need really is one filament of the sun, one ray of light.
Wow.
There's another example. This is an older version. Same thing, little thing sticking up, put the magnets here. Sunlight connects with this little part here. Caloric energy comes up, excuse me. Here we see this shape.
Right.
This is called the endless knot. It's the Greek endless knot. But here's a picture here is in 1765, but this goes way back to, Greece and all the, it's on the pottery, the Greek pottery. So here you have this little staff shape or heart shape, and you have this ring. These rings goes around, it just keeps looping, right?
Right.
There's
Yeah.
only one direction or one thing that could create this pattern. Here you have the same thing. It's
Yeah.
endless knot because it has no end. It just keeps going and going and going, right? Same thing here,
Well,
same thing there.
Yeah.
Well, the only way to make that shape is by using 4 south-facing magnets.
right.
South, we know, moves counterclockwise. As energy comes up or comes down, it gets intertwined with the magnetic field, and this field just keeps going south. Left, 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 and left. This is called the cosmic shield, or Athena's aegis.
Right.
What this does is this creates a positive field. It creates a negative field inside, okay? And it creates a positive field. Imagine this as a sphere. You put this inside of a sphere. Imagine a ball, and cut that ball in half, right? One side of that ball would be positive, the other side of the ball would be negative.
Right.
But this also creates a smaller ball inside that one, which would be the opposite. One
Kind of
side-
reminds me of an apple.
Yeah, there you go.
Or fractals.
Right.
Well, an apple is a fractal.
So what the cosmic shield does, it reflects evil, negative, creates a positive atmosphere. And I've been testing this in our bedroom for a few weeks now. And I really can't say it makes a difference because it's all in my, you know what I mean? You tell yourself that you're putting something positive up, so I automatically assume that it's positive, but I can't give any real results about that yet. All right,
So I'll tell you my experience with David's staff. So I was really anxious to see David's staff, and finally somebody brings it to me, and this is before it's even plugged in. Like, right now, we plug it into a frequency generator and run frequencies through it.
Mhm.
But the guy hands me the staff, and my hand, it was in my left hand. He handed it to me. My hand basically grabs the staff, and the staff, my arm basically moves down all by itself, touches the ground. And then, that image in the Ten Commandments where Moses has a staff in one hand and the tablets in the other? Well, my hand goes down with the staff,
It separates
goes
the sea.
up there and to the left like this, all by itself. And I was holding it there, and I could feel energy coming down my arm and into my heart. And it was beautiful, amazing, heart-filled energy, right? And then I had to give the staff back because the guy needed to go. But so, I'm moving it and it doesn't want to move, but I forced it, and then automatically it started moving by itself, came baame down, touched the ground, and I was able to pass it to him.
Right, I
So
want to show you. I'm sorry.
I shared that with David, and he said he didn't even have that experience. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was I think it was because I was outside, maybe it was a sunny day, all these things come into play.
All right, I want to just say one more thing.
Sure, please.
It's all about, like I said, I was talking about earlier, is time and place. There's a
Right.
certain time and place. Is anybody familiar with Birkeland currents?
No.
Birkeland currents are these currents that were discovered in the early 60s, I believe. And they're basically what they are is cosmic energy comes down and enters at the North Pole of the planet. And what it does is it cascades over the planet and moves through these ley lines. So
Right.
time and place are a big factor in this. You need to find where these ley lines cross or they connect, where they're strongest. And during a day or time, like a solstice, a summer solstice or a winter solstice, when the sunlight is like what 13 hours instead of 12, something like that.
Right.
And those are the important things. Those are the gas stations, the fuel and the timing. But here's how you can read these hermetic drawings. Now, if you know, we all know the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, right?
Right.
When you look at these pictures, you'll see the sun here is on the right, which would be your east.
Right.
Okay. So if the sun was rising and moved over and come down, and it would set in the west. So
Right.
this picture here and the sun and the moon are always opposite each other. So this picture
Right.
here, we know that this is representing sunrise,
Right.
right? So if the sun was up in the middle, at the top, that would be midday. And
Right.
if you see the sun and the moon opposite, if the sun is on the left side, rising in the west or setting in the west, that would
Right.
be sunset.
Right.
So there's a lot of these different pictures you're going to find where they have the sun and the moon, and they're all in different places.
Right.
So that's how you can tell. Now here we look at our receiver, the receiver we just built, okay? Now we put our magnets in here, and I was telling you before, this concept is not completely limited to staffs.
Yeah.
A tree is a natural staff. It
Absolutely. The tree
it
is, we're a natural staff.
yeah, exactly. Animals, people, plants. This is a natural staff. It's a natural receiver. And
Absolutely.
so here you have someone depicting, they put their own receiver onto the tree, strapped it to the tree, and they use the tree as a staff.
Absolutely. I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I have for today. There's a lot
Okay,
more.
well,
to
wait,
talk
wait,
about.
don't go away yet. So on that last photo of the magnet strapped to the tree, are they north, south, south, north, or are they all south, or what was that picture? Do you know?
There's no magnets on the receiver. They're just showing you the
Yeah.
receiver,
They're
that they're actually
The
using the
receiver
receiver. They're using the tree as a receiver.
as a receiver.
You said
Now
they
the-
had, but you said that there was magnets strapped to the tree.
No, I
No, he
meant you
said
could put your magnet.
You could do it, is what he's saying.
But
Yeah.
if you could do it, what would you do? Would you do south, south, or south, north, north, south, or what would you do?
That would depend on what you want to accomplish. Do you want to create storms, or the pillar of cloud? Do you want to soften stone, or do you want to resurrect? It all
I wanna-
depends on what you want to do.
I want to make a lush garden.
Lush garden? Okay.
Yeah. What would you do?
I don't know. I'd try a little both. I'm going to be experimenting with this in the
I
next-
think that's a cool experiment because I have a lot of trees in my backyard. And Texas, I'm in South Texas, which we have, 110 degree, summers and 80-degree winters. Or in this winter, we had -10 winters with snowstorms. It was really weird this year for things, and everybody's vegetation died. And so my trees, I just feel really bad for them. And I want to do something to help them. So I'm wondering if I put magnets on them, what would I put on them? Would I put north, south, south, north, or would I put
I bet you
something?
I bet you if you asked David, he would know the answer to that.
If
That's
you
a good
want,
question because they all feed underground with their root system or whatever. That if you
Yeah.
just did it to one tree, that they would all resonate.
Because remember that example of his where if you go to his YouTube, you can watch it, right? He made a tree fall in his direction. So if
Yeah.
if he can make a tree fall in his direction with the staff, then what else is possible?
Yeah.
right. So now
That's
we can go
interesting.
back. I'm sorry. So now
Go
we can
ahead.
go back and look at all these pictures, and now we can actually see what we're talking about here. We can
Yeah.
actually see this represents the cosmic or the telluric heart, and the
Yeah.
bottom one is the cosmic heart. And what we're seeing here is
No, the other way around, right?
it's the other way. There you go. Exactly. They're opposite. So somehow they took the cosmic energy and they put it down here, and they took the telluric energy and they put it up here.
So
This
why'd
is
they do that, or how'd they do that? And what'd they do that for?
It's the cosmic and energy telluric exchange.
As
Right.
above, so below.
That's
Right.
the
As
that's the
above, so
code
below.
was.
Yeah, good one, Elizabeth.
So now if you put these two together, you would have the union. What they're
Wow.
selling you, they're not putting them together or anything like that. They're just showing you. If you take cosmic energy, put it down here, telluric energy, which represents by the grapes or the vines, this is what you can do. And over here to the right, you see this little heart here.
Yeah.
This one has wings, and that's going to be another discussion. And also, we haven't covered how Hermes used the wands to fly,
Wow.
or the ancient secret map yet.
Okay, we're gonna do a series with you, buddy.
Okay. So how did I do?
You did excellent. I really, really appreciate your
I
doing.
just have a few questions. Like I'm appreciative too. I'm sorry to interrupt, Rose. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead and ask your questions. And I'll go ahead.
So my question is, I know I asked you what your background again was, and it wasn't geology, but what is
How
it?
about Elizabeth? Why don't you
Uh-huh.
let me interview him, and then maybe let's see if your questions are answered in the interview.
Okay.
I'm a foreman for a contract painting company, and
Yeah,
right
you
now
said
we're
you were a
doing a
painter.
project at the Joint Air Force Base in here in Charleston,
Oh, so you're in North Carolina?
South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. Okay, and yeah, you do your interview, Rose. It's 11 o'clock for me. I have to go to work tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to stay for that. But I just
Oh.
wanted to say, I really appreciate you. I don't know where you came from or how you got involved with Rose, but I'm really glad that you did, because it's brought a whole new level of understanding for me. Awesome.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it. And I'm
Thank you very
hoping
much.
that your wife, you said something earlier about your wife that she got mad at you about the printing or whatever,
Yes.
that she is like enjoying exactly what you do. Like, what does she do? Is she into this stuff too?
He's in car sales,
I'm in automotive as well.
not into
So,
science at all.
well, but I'm sure she gets it at some level. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Well,
awesome.
because he's talking about engines and fuel. Of course she gets
Yeah, yeah. Well, he probably is making that for her to relate to.
Good point.
That's awesome.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Rose,
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the interview, so I hope I get to see it.
of course. Well, as long as Michael's okay with me interviewing him formally, then absolutely.
Okay. Okay, love you all. I have to go. You guys have a good night.
All right.
You
Bye
too.
now.
We love you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Elizabeth. The rest of you are welcome to stay if you want to stay. I don't know how long Michael has, or if you want to do it another day, we can do it another day. It's up to you. I'm good.
It's actually midnight here. I have to get up at 6.
Okay,
So yeah, we can do this tomorrow night if you want.
let's do it. Let's do it tomorrow then. After 4:30, that's when you can do it.
Yeah, anytime after 4 o'clock my time, which would be 3 hours after your time.
Hang on,
Wait.
3 hours after my time.
It'll be 1 o'clock your time.
Let's do it 1 o'clock tomorrow,
Okay, that's 4 o'clock for me.
or 1:30 tomorrow.
4:30, that's perfect.
Okay,
1:30 Pacific?
yeah, 1:30 Pacific.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, thanks.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
Okay,
I'll probably record it without you guys, and I'll post it later, Eroka. So
that's a
it'll be
good,
hard. It'll be hard to coordinate everyone.
yeah.
Okay,
I really
All right.
appreciate what y'all do there. Okay,
I appreciate all you too. It would be
Thank-
really nice if we could get more people into this group. I know it's like dry information that people don't want to listen to, but it's information that they really got to listen to.
No.
It's like it'll change their lives.
I
So-
mean, absolutely. Thanks, Michaela.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I'm going, thanks. Look
Bye-bye.
forward
Bye. Love you. Bye.
to.
All right. All right, Michael, I thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you doing this. 2 things. We'll see you again tomorrow at 1:30 PST. And I have your permission, obviously, to show this to David, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I was trying to contact you, because I know, Dave and I are a little bit alike. We're both free thinkers. We're both into this kind of stuff. And,
Yeah, so what happens is there's so many people that contact him. So
Right.
then I end up vetting them. And
Right.
so definitely want to connect you too. So what we'll do is what I'll do is we'll do the interview tomorrow. That's for me. I have a website called Metaphysical Hub.
Mhm.
And I interview metaphysical people, and they share their stories and talk about what they're doing. And there's some amazing people there that do the kind of stuff you're doing. So it's so amazing how many amazing people are in the world that are figuring things out through totally different ways. Like,
Right.
like somebody studying DNA has figured this out, for example, right? I just interviewed someone about a month ago, has figured out, the North and South poles and how they exist in DNA and how frequency can affect DNA. And, it's all coming together.
Maybe it's
So
time.
maybe it's time. And so the second thing I like to do is, one, I'm going to basically convince David to do a Zoom with you. And maybe he can also interview you, or you two can have a dialogue. The time for our inner circle is 6 a.m. on Tuesday mornings PST. So that's your, I don't know, 3 a.m. PST?
That would be 9 o'clock for me. I work from 6 till 4 o'clock, or 7 to 4 o'clock, but I have to get up at 6.
So 9 o'clock would be a time you wouldn't be able to attend, right?
No, everything has to be after 4 o'clock PM in my time.
Okay. So I'm going to have to set up a time with him for you and
Or
him
weekends,
to
obviously weekends are open.
Okay, so I'll set up a weekend or something with you for him. And I'll set up a Zoom so you guys can connect too.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely feel you two need to connect for sure.
All right. Okay, we have my number. You can just give me a text or send me a message whenever. And
I will. I'll see you tomorrow at 1:30. I look forward to interviewing you. And I'll just give a backstory to everything we just did, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Well, so thank you so much for joining me, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, and I'll put this together. I'll edit it, and I'll send you, and we'll just see what to do with it.
Okay, sounds
I'll
good.
send you a copy.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Michael.
All right,
So
good
nice
night.
to meet you.
Nice meeting
Yeah,
you too.
love and light. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye bye.